Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the URC. This one, another South African derby. It is a catch-up match that was supposed to take place near the end of last year, but it is Bulls versus Stormers at Loftus. This is going to be a huge game, and it starts off what is a huge morning, I guess you could say, for us here in New Zealand, of international and also URC rugby. We got 3 games of the Six Nations just around the corner, but this one is definitely a must-see game between the Bulls and the Stormers side. But jumping into the starting lineups, first of all for the Bulls, they are going to be as follows: Gerhard Stennekamp in the front row alongside Johan Krobelaar and Wilco Low as the number 3. So 2 props who have had Springbok experience throughout last year, and Johan Krobelaar also a very handy player to have in between those 2 men, Ruan Vermaak and Ruan Nokia as the locking duo, although Nokia does not have his normal captaincy for this contest. Instead, he will be passing that to Marcel Kutsia, who is playing as number 12, playing as number 6, Elric Lowe at 7, and Jandre Rudolph, who is always willing to get into the action. He is there. As the number 8, Ambros Papier alongside Hondre Pollard as that 9 and 10 combination. This is Pollard versus Sasha Feinberg, Ngume Zulu. It's going to be very entertaining. And I mean, we've gotten to see it once, and it's slightly delivered, but I feel like there was a little bit more. People wanted to see the rematch, and they get to see it here between these 2 sides. Kurtley Arendse out on the left wing, Harold Foster and Kanan Moody will be the midfield combination, with Sebastian de Klerk out on the right and David Kriel at number 15. They have got some experience off of the bench with Nassim Carr, as well as someone like Willie LaRue to try and change this game. Later on, for the Stormers, it is Untertuku Machunu alongside Andre Hugafinte and Nedling Faucher as the number 3. Array Smith and JD Schickerling in the locking duo, with the return of Dion Fourie. Now, this man, he has been near retirement many times throughout his career. He has somehow fought through all of it to come back and have a big opportunity to play yet again in this contest. I hope he remains injury-free, but the way that he throws his body on the line, you know he's going to be in the action, hoping to have a big one. Here for the Stormers, Ben Jason Dixon as the number 7, with Marcel Tennyson at number 8. So no Evan Roos in the selection of this game, and also Paul de Villiers rather than in the starting lineup. He will make his way. Off the bench, Stephen Nkura is the starting 9, so no Kobus Reinach. For the Stormers here, Sasha Feinberg Ngume Zulu as the 10. Lilion Zas out on the left wing. Damian Valimza. It's been chopping and changing between 12 and 15, but in this case, they've gone with the inside centre role. Ruan now the captain on the outside, and then Hudson Berg and Warwick Hallant at number 15. Now, Hallant's an interesting player because he either has an absolutely incredible game or he has a lot of mistakes that can cost his side. This is the type of matchup, though, at Loftus that he can't afford to have any sort of mistakes, or else it will just hurt his side badly up against a clinical Bulls team. But we have got there, come on, the Stormers, says Bruce. We have got there, go Bulls. And also we have got there, right, we are live, says Barca fan, and also we have got there tomorrow's New Zealand's cricket match. It certainly is going head-to-head up against the Proteas. Not fair. How come the Bulls got all the box, says Gavin. I'm not actually too sure of the reasoning behind it. I know that for the Stormers, they are missing, like I mentioned, Evan Roos, as well as missing Kobus Reinach. I don't know whether or not that's mandatory stand-down or whether that is just the way that it's worked out that they decided to rest them for this game. It wouldn't make a lot of sense, though, to rest them in a matchup this important and this crucial for the overall outcome of their season. Hello, Hamish. Plenty of ruggers today. Says Sue, there certainly is. I'm going to be covering a majority of it on the channel. I think we've still got another about probably 9 hours of streaming to go on the channel. We have got there, hey Hamish, you look a beetroot. Hope you're not back with a cold. I look a beetroot. What does that mean? Like that I look bright red? I think it's just the lighting, really. I'm normally looking pretty pale. In fact, if I lean the right way, I look like I haven't seen the sun for 6 months. We have got there, it's a T20 in 2017. Says Kyle, there's also one taking place in 2026 in about 20 or so hours' time. Can you move a wee bit to your left? Can't see the Stormers bench. 1 second, we'll go like that. We'll squeeze the arms in a little bit so that you can see exactly who's making their way. Off of the bench, we have got there, it's a wonder. International in New Zealand. Coverage on Supersport will start at 2:15. I assume you're talking about that T20, right? Which will be, I believe, a 8:15 a.m. start for you guys in South Africa. We have got How's it, Hamish? Stormers for the win. Says Philip there. I think they've got a pretty decent chance of causing an upset here, the Stormers, if the Bulls don't fire from the get-go. Now, this Bulls side, they've actually turned their season around majorly. And we look through at the way that the table sits currently for the Bulls. They are in 8th place on the 30 points. As you can see, just above them, a couple South African sides. The Lions there on 33. The Stormers there on 36. So if the Stormers get a big victory here, they would actually promote themselves potentially all the way to 2nd place in the overall standings if they were to get themselves the 5-point victory and win this game by 6 or more points. So they've got a lot that can happen for them. Whereas for the Bulls, they have a huge amount of sides that are right on the verge of trying to overtake them, whether that's Connacht or the Ospreys. So they have to be very careful, not just what is above them, but also what's behind them trying to play catch-up at the moment for this Bulls side. But looking through at the recent form for these two teams, we will look at their most recent 6 games, just because it's been a little while. We've only seen the Bulls play 1 game throughout March of the URC thus far, and then having that game in February. Outside of that, a pretty quiet time of the year for the Bulls. But the last time that these two sides went head-to-head was early on in January, and the Stormers were able to get themselves the victory, 13 points to 8. Now, initially, it was going to be 2 games back-to-back between the sides, but the first one got rescheduled to now, just to cause a little bit of a gap and also give them a bit of New Year's to be able to enjoy a bit of off time. But they were able to get themselves the win over Edinburgh, over the Lions, over Poe, and over the Sharks. That is the winning streak that these Bulls sides at the moment find themselves on, 4 wins. Whereas before that stage, they were on about a 7 or 8 match losing streak. So it's certainly turning around for the Bulls. At this stage for the Stormers, their most recent game was actually the 1st of March. They did lose quite substantially in that game up against the Lions, 24 points to 10. Then in February, they did lose up against the Sharks. And then just a little bit prior to that, they lost up against the Sharks as well. So they are currently on a 3-match losing streak up against South African sides. And this game here at Loftus does not get any easier because the Bulls will come out firing. They will feel this is an opportunity to grow a little bit more on the table. Whereas for the Stormers, they kind of have to start that redemption stage or else they will continue to drop that little bit further down in the overall standings. How long to the kickoff, please? 8 minutes to the start of this contest. I'm here for the long haul today. The missus is away and left me with a crate of lagers. Happy days, says Robert. And yeah, there's plenty of rugby still to come, including that last game that has taken place of this kind of period in time, which is the matchup between France and England. Got a donation there from Philip as well with Go Stormers. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated for your generosity yet again on our weekend live stream. We have got there nothing for Mahala at Loftus. Our blood is blue, says Cassium. And also the Bulls has a strong lineup today. Yeah, they've got a very strong team, which should be able to get the win. But at the same time, it's a tricky one to judge. Because if there was ever going to be a game where the Stormers have had that realization, like they really have to start firing, it has to be this game. Because if they keep on making mistakes, like we saw in the game up against the Lions, they will continue to drop in the overall standings, which at the start of the season, they were considered such a heavy favourite to be able to do well. And we have got there, if no Bulls, or if no Cards, Bulls should win. Says music there. Yeah, and Cards have played a bit of a factor in some of the recent rounds of the URC. This one is considered as part of round 8 of the competition, but of course we are getting to the business end of this comp. There are also future games for these two sides involving the Champions Cup and whatnot. We'll go like this first of all. These are the near future games for these sides. Cardiff next week for the Bulls, and then Munster the weekend after. And then for the Stormers, they have got the Monday morning game up against the Dragons, followed by that game up against Edinburgh, and then we move into the month after the last 16 of the Champions Cup. The Stormers play Toulon and the Bulls play Glasgow. So actually both away games in the round of 16. Not going to be easy, but if either of them win, of course, the quarter-final just around the corner for the South African sides. We have got there, g'day Hamish, can't believe I'm picking Bulls. I expected so much more from Stormers this season, says Thuds Race. Well, they started so well. You know, they were right up the top of the table, but now 3 matches in a row that they have lost up against the South African sides has just completely halted their momentum. Hi from Kazakhstan again, Hamish. Good to see you. I love my Stormers team, but they make me worry now, says Jonathan. And the weather at Loftus is also not supposed to be too flash for this game, apparently. Now, hopefully it has changed and it is going to be a fine enough looking day, which we are just about to find out as the coverage comes in for us here in New Zealand. But, like, a rainy day here honestly, we could see like 15 handling errors per sides. There are a few drops of rain on the camera lens. As a whole, though, it looks like the sun is also out at Loftus. What was the highest ever recorded in rugby history? Highest ever, I guess that's scoreline. I know that it involved Japan, didn't it? Way back in the day. Are you going to go live coverage between New Zealand cricket and South Africa? I'm hoping to. By that stage, we would have had a long time without sleep. So as long as the alarms all work, we should be able to do that one. Bulls will win by more than 10 points. Says Stranger. 24 degrees and cloudy is the weather report, although as seen by the lens, there is a few spots and whatnot on the camera here. A big game at Loftus for this Bulls side who are currently on a winning streak of their own. It's kind of winning streak versus losing streak in this matchup. Bulls to win 42 points to 18 is Cheslin's prediction there. Yeah, I think a quick fire start for the Bulls is exactly what they need for this contest to put the away side under pressure early and just try and keep on achieving from there. Total points will be more than 56. Oh, so you're going super high scoring game in that regard. So you're thinking not much defence from these two sides in that case. And what happened to the Stormers? Makes me nervous as a Glasgow fan. Champions Cup, by the way, says Kahu. Although the Bulls are playing the Glasgow Warriors in the Champions Cup rather than the Stormers. But the Stormers side, they definitely haven't found their best run as of late. But again, it only takes one big match to be able to change the momentum. And if they won this game with a bonus point, they shoot from 6th to 2nd in the overall standings. If the World Cup was being played this year, would Italy and Scotland go far, says Darren? Depends. Because Italy are one of those sides that unfortunately they still, even after those massive wins that they've had in the Six Nations, can sometimes disappear in the big matches. So I can't guarantee that Italy would do well in a World Cup if it was happening this season and that they wouldn't lose to a side that they definitely shouldn't have to then drop them down the rankings and give them a harder match. But they're definitely playing a lot better than some were anticipating for this year. But a bit similar to Argentina, it's just about finding that consistency at the moment. Just saying 6 matches remaining for these two sides in their URC campaign before we get into the playoff rounds. I can't believe how quickly this competition has gone, even though it is almost an all-year-round type of comp. Just seems like we're already at the business end. We mentioned about those points early on in the season, being able to carry you towards a title or at least a chance of getting one. Feel like we've seen that a little bit here. I hear Puppy is out to vet. To start, Zach Berger on the bench. Yeah, I have just seen the lineups as they've just popped up there. So no Ambrose Papier for this game. Late change. I believe that's the only change that the Bulls have had to make, other than, of course, off of the bench with Berger there. But still the 6-2 split for the Bulls in this contest, including Jan Hendrik Wessels playing as the number 16. And we have got there, how much do you know Jaden Lennox? Not personally. We have got there, also these teams have played 196 against each other. The Bulls have won 99 and the Stormers 97. And the Bulls win. We 100 victories. This is the ultimate South African derby, says Anthony. Yeah, so you're saying when the Bulls win it. So if not, they will have to wait that little bit longer. Sebastian de Klerk to open the scoring, says Sash. He's probably got a decent chance. At the end of the day, he has got a really good ability of finding the try line. No matter where they are out there on the field, he just seems to bulldoze his way over Sebastian de Klerk. Yeah, he's got Lilian Zas in front of him, who loves scoring tries himself. Sorry, my letters sound confusing because keypads is really making my words confused. They are certainly confusing me plenty in terms of some of the ones. I've gotten used to your autocorrect a little bit, but at the same time, it's still very, very tricky to work out at times. But these two sides to make their way out onto the field. Dion Fori out there again, which is just an incredible moment for this man. It seemed like his career was going to be over after his last big injury, especially in the opening stages when everyone is cold, says Sash. And so what am I missing? Why is the South African teams not only playing each other the last month or so, says Roger. So this is a game that was taking place originally last year. Right at the end of the year, they were supposed to play off in a double-header. They did only play the second match of said double-header as it was that Christmas New Year's break. So it's been rescheduled to now. But this is normally when we see the South African derbies taking place so that they can play a bit of catch-up because of the Six Nations. Although I think it is the last South African derby for quite some time before we do get into the stages of just South African side versus overseas team. And also we have there that Stormers squad is fantastic. Says Studs Race. Yeah, they have been looking the real deal throughout the season, although recent times up against the South African sides on a 3-match losing streak. But at Loftus here, will not be the first loss we've seen for the Bulls at the stadium this URC. Mako van Staden, he is making his way out onto the field for a milestone match here. It's a full day of rugby, 4 games in a row, says Hori. It certainly is. Next one after this, Ireland versus Scotland, Italy versus the Welsh, and then also France versus England close out the international day. But then there is still the Super Rugby Pacific afternoon game between, it will be the Blues and Moana Pacifica. And then the Sevens is also taking place from 3 a.m. onwards. We will be giving updates all throughout the day of those matches. South Africa and Fiji, the 2 teams with the potential of taking out the gold medal for the overall standings. That's a treat. Actually, I was thinking I would have to wait until the Six Nations, says Sash. How about the Reds, bro? Yeah, good win for them over the Waratahs in the end. Getting on a nice little streak up against the Australian sides. Hamish, what do you think All Blacks will improve with their defence? Or do you think All Blacks will improve with their defence? I'd like to think so. Like, at the end of the day, new coaches will be in the mix. It will take a bit of time. Like, anyone who's hoping that New Zealand will just go straight to South Africa and win the one with a clean sweep, I think are too optimistic. But, you know, if they can get 1 or 2 wins, I'd say they've probably done quite well under the new coach with short time. In Stormers land, and I think they are throwing too many offloads, says Sven. Yeah, these 2 sides, they have had a fair few handling errors throughout recent times. The Stormers, they will be kicking off this game from left to right. The hands of Sasha Feinberg and Ngume Zulu. The sun is currently out at Loftus. There were a few passing showers earlier on, but hopefully it's going to be dry. And hopefully they won't have any trouble being able to handle the ball when this game's starting, and it's starting right this instance. Sasha Feinberg and Ngume Zulu with the ball in hand. And the whistle now blown. We are underway for another match of the URC. A South African derby. Sasha making the Bulls wait a little bit longer before he kicks this one off. But now we are underway, looking straight into the sun. Nice take from Yandre Rudolph. I wanted anyone out there on the field who was just going to throw themselves into the breakdowns, carry hard. It is definitely that man. Still waiting for Cameron Honeycomb to return for the Bulls in that number 8 jersey. Kick towards the sideline. It's a loose ball. Watakallant getting it on the inside. Going away to the right-hand side for the Stormers, just on the halfway line. Can we watch the game here? Sadly not, due to YouTube's copyright policy. Any match footage or audio would get it taken straight off YouTube, but it's on URC TV, it's on Super Sport, and there are a few other viewing options that can be found on the URC website. David Creel now stepping on the inside for the Bulls, trying a little chip in behind, waiting for the bounce of the ball, but Stephen Nkura does well to clean it up as he gets bundled into touch by the Bulls defence. Let's go the Bulls. Says Dale, I want the Bulls to win, but I also want Sashi FM to find form again, so conflicting. Says Robert. Yeah, ideally we want to see both of these sides doing well at the stage of reaching the Champions Cup round of 16. Stormers have got a tough game up against Toulon, and then the Bulls, they've got a tough match up against the Glasgow Warriors, who will be back to full strength after the players return from the Six Nations squads. Jane Lennox, Michael Bracewell, and Con McConkey are off spinners. They played in the final. Black Cats would win the final, says Barca. I don't think they would have. I think it just came down to the fact that the batters didn't fire for New Zealand. And of course, there's all these if, buts, and maybes, but it doesn't make any difference now. The trophy's already with India. Kicked high from Paul Devet. Going up for that ball. Kurtley Arendse takes it nicely, although he didn't land very softly there. Didn't bounce too much for Kurtley Arendse. Kanan Moody, another Springbok in this Bulls side. Wide cut out past to Sebastian de Klerk. He is a future Bok who will have a bright future in that green and gold. Takes it up to about 35 metres out. Eldrick Lowe. Straight run from him. Now pick and go from Harold Foster. Good metres made at the moment by the Bulls each and every phase. That almost looked illegal from Dion Foree, and in fact it was. He's going to give away the penalty advantage. Andre Pollard across to David Creel, playing 15 short ball to Kanan Moody, pins the ears back, passes on the outside. Kurtley Arendse will score the early try for the Bulls, and they take the lead now at Loftus. URC TV is looking far better than last year. Says Studs Race here. They seem to have made a few improvements to it, which is great news because they kind of had to, as there were quite a few issues with it last part of the year. And go the Bulls, says JP. Apparently Honeycomb is ready for the next game. Yeah, I have a feeling they may strategically be saving him just for the games outside of South African derbies, purely because, I mean, how many injuries do we normally witness when South African sides play each other? The list is normally at least 5, so the last thing that they want is for Honeycomb to have done all the rehab, do all the recovery, just to come back and get absolutely smashed by a big South African fella and then have him out for much longer. It's a good finish from Kurtley Ardensa though. Oh, hang on. We're back to this. We're doing a TMO check, ladies and gentlemen. This has been such a frustrating part of the URC. Anyone who's followed this competition closely will know this happens more times than not now, that they randomly find something that happened way ages ago and try and rule out every single try that's ever happened in this competition. Forward pass, right? I think it is for the potential forward pass. Or may even be a knock-on in the breakdown. New Zealand lost the cricket twice. Lost when India batted. Lost again when India bowled. Says the thuds raised there. All right, the TMO involved in this contest. And it only took him about 4 minutes before we are going to see it. But they haven't got it loaded up right now. They do. What is it in this breakdown? Is it a knock-on? Yes, it is. A knock-on in the breakdown from Paul de Vet. Just brushes his fingertips. So that is going to be no try, ladies and gentlemen. TMO has, I guess, he's got it right, but it really just takes too long at this point in time. My brother-in-law is at the game. He's a Bulls. I'm a Stormer. He says the Stormers came in the thousands. Says Roger. Moody could be good at fly half. Says Sven there. So I believe this one just brushed the finger of Paul de Vet about 3 or 4 breakdowns ago. And from that, I believe this one's going to be ruled as no try. How's it, Hamish? Great from St. Francis Bay. Okay, TMO said that he missed it initially, so no try. We're back to 0-0 between these two sides, ladies and gentlemen. Kurtley Ardensa has not scored the early try at Loftus. Ackerman had such bad press when he started. Let them eat their words. The return of Lowe has been so understated, says Anthony. Okay, I think they're just asking the question of whether or not the Bulls had that advantage from Dion Fourie. The Bulls already frustrated with this decision. That knock-on is a sign that we're breaking the Bulls' streak today, says Roger. Okay, technical infringement is the only word of the Afrikaans the referee was speaking that I understood there when he was talking to the captain, Marcel Kutsia. I believe the Springboks benefit from this type of refereeing. This is how they blow the game at international level, even though it sucks. Says Neil Bester, yeah, it just means that you can't make any sort of little mistake because they seem to pick it up every time in the URC. Pack weights, 936 kgs for the Bulls compared to the 912 kgs of the Stormers, but these two sides are sitting at 0-0 after the first 3.5 minutes. Let's go the Bulls, says JP. And there as well. The penalty goes the way of Bulls at scrum time, just wheeling around a little bit, feeling the pressure in the front row for the Stormers. It was a solid push from Wilco Lowe as well as Gerhard Stennekamp. 2 strong scrums, says Cheetah, and the slightly heavier forward pack got the penalty there. Needs an interpreter. Does AI speak Afrikaans? I'd assume it would have some sort of Afrikaans speaking ability, wouldn't it? And hi there, Hamish. As me, captain of Black Caps, I just want to apologise that we performed poor. I didn't mean to pick Jacob Duffy. It was actually Rob Wilder who told me to pick him. I know that is you on the other account, Barca fan, but yeah, it's one of those ones. Like at the end of the day, it's been and done. Then, like Thuds Ray said, New Zealand didn't just lose when bowling, but they lost when batting as well. Wilco Lowe, we've taken names today, says Neil Bester, and Stormers backline 3 is their weakest link, says Cheetah. Now another scrum feed is the call here. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, my apologies. The Bulls went for the kick towards the touchline and did kick it dead. So it does now mean that it is going to be the Stormers scrum feed. Is there 7s on this weekend as well? There is. The first day overlaps completely with all the international games, which means we won't be able to cover much of it, unfortunately. But we are going to be covering day 2 as well as giving updates on the 7s throughout the day. Currently, we're about probably an hour and 50 minutes away from the first contest of the 7s. That'll be Fiji versus Argentina. Guess who is back? Hey, Hamish says, Charles, welcome in. You have been keeping well. If you're excited for a massive day of rugby here today, this is the first of 4 games that we are covering back to back to back. 5.5 minutes through. And again, we get ourselves in another scrummaging battle between these two sides. The first scrum penalty did go the way of the Bulls, but they weren't able to capitalise by kicking that ball dead, looking for just a few too many metres. Springboks number 10 jersey up for grabs today. I think Rassi will definitely be watching this game, but I don't know if it's going to completely change his opinion on Pollard or Sasha. In this case, big scrum penalty. One again for the Bulls, so that is 2 in a row against the feed. And that is not good news for anyone going up against Wilco Low. It's just factory reset my iPhone. Yesterday was a bit disappointing. I lost my iCloud. Says Charles, although surely if you had it all backed up, it shouldn't have done that. Where can we stream the match visually? URC TV or Super Sport? They are the two main options for being able to watch this game. They're just showing it there. Wilco Low just collapsing. Machunu under the pressure. Now rolling maul attempted here for the Bulls. Going short side. Offload from Marcel Kutsia to Jan-Ray Rudolph. 3 metres out from the line. That was almost another knock on from the Bulls. So that is something that the TMO will be actively checking. That time it is a knock on from Ruan Nokia. And it will now be the scrum feed for the Stormers again. This is now going to be the third scrum in 7 minutes between these two sides. A good day from a hotcake downstairs, Jeremy Jacobs there. And on the cricket, always bat first in India, especially if you win the toss. It's the only chance you got against India, says Joe Mann. Yeah, although you look at what happened for the West Indies, they chose to bat first and then they got beaten by a record run chase from India. So it's hard to know whether or not it was the right choice. Great pronunciation of the South African names, and thanks, bud. I'll keep your stream open, love the content. Says Damien there, thank you very much. Just that drop ball on the ground from Ruan Nokia. A sneaky Stormers hand there, says Studs Race. There did seem to be a bit of fiddling going on. Did Ambrose get injured during the warm-ups? I believe so. It was right before game was getting underway that now Paul DeVet is in the starting lineup with Zach Berger making his way off the bench. Why would a New Zealand channel need Afrikaans translator? There are Afrikaans commentary channels. If you want commentary in Afrikaans, there are also radio stations if you are South Africa. He was referring to the fact that the referee was speaking in Afrikaans to Marcel Kutsia. That was why that kind of came about. And Hamish, it's been livid that you are streaming club rugby games and still get a high amount of viewers, says Charles. And also scoreboard pressure is something else, says Joe Mann. 7 minutes in at the moment. And another scrum. Stormers, they have not had the best rub of the green when it comes to the scrum so far. They have given away 2 penalties, both on the Wilco Low side. Now ready to feed this one in. And it's gone up in the front row, but this time the Stormers get themselves the penalty. Moving forward on both sides. This time the Stormers do get the call, standing up in the scrum. It's going to be a great battle between Machunu and also Wilco Low. And then that's not even mentioning on the other side with Stennekamp as well as Nedeling Fouchier. The Bulls front row is the better. Says Jita Hamish, do you remember last Monday when I gave you large amount of support when the Black Cats were losing? So you couldn't feel down? I don't even remember last Monday, if I'm being honest. We were that sleep deprived by that stage that I don't remember doing any streams. I think I was just literally in autopilot mode. But that seems to be happening more and more now. I'll do a whole weekend of rugby streaming, and then I'll get to about Tuesday and realise I can't remember any of the results that have happened. Which I think is actually not very good, like, mentally wise. But hopefully it's all right. Now kicking this one up high. Nice attempt there from Damien Valimza, but it pops back on the side of the Bulls. Kane and Moody now going to Kutlia Arinsa. Now offload to Ruan Nokia. That's another knock on, though, from him. And it brings another scrum. At the moment, it is scrum simulator between these two sides. But, I mean, if any sides do love a scrum, it is the South African team. So I feel like they'll be loving this a little bit. Well, that was brilliant from Machunu. He was up against Low and the flanker. Says Studs Race. We see it there, just trying to grab that ball, and it just kept on avoiding the grasp of Ruan Nokia. I mean, it is such an intense scrum battle. The more often that this happens early on, it will shape the way that this match progresses. Hamish, you should ask the doctors. They will surely help you, says Charles. 3 handling errors at the moment for the Bulls at this stage compared to the 0 of the Stormers, the early stages of the contest. 10 minutes and another scrum. Feeding this ball in for Stephen Nkura. Going away to the left-hand side, Damien Valimza puts it on to Sasha Feinberg, Zulu, who kicks it straight out on the full. We'll go back for a line out here for the Bulls, about 45 metres out from the Stormers line. It's 172 points in his 19 test appearances for South Africa, including that one game where he set a record, the most individual points. We have good there, you're wearing pants, where's the hoodie? I'm wearing shorts, and I got the shirt on because I did make a promise last week that if the Six Nations came down to the wire, then we would have the dress shirt on. But also there's no gap in between this live stream and the Six Nations one, which means that I didn't have time to change afterwards. So we're just wearing it the whole way through. Now, carry forward for Dion Forrio. That's a good carry from a man who's recently returned from injury, Nkura. Having a little bit of a bump there from Ntatuko Machunu, which meant he wasn't able to go for the kick himself. That one's gone backwards. Now Sasha Feinberg, Ngume Zulu, puts it high and cross field. Going up for it is Hudson-Berg, slaps it back onto the side of the Stormers. Ruan now big fend on Pollard. Now offloading up to Andre Hugo Fent. A few missed tackles here from the Bulls. It's actually leading to a lot of extra metres being made by the Stormers side, who move up to the 22 now. Nice step on the inside from Marcel Tennyson. Flat ball to Damien Valimza. Couldn't get the offload away, but the ball was recycled quickly. Sasha going now on the outside to Ruan now towards the corner and finishing it off. Missed tackle from David Creel, and the Stormers now will score the first contest, or first try of the contest, I should say. They will probably check this one, as we have often seen in this URC comp. But 16th try for Hudson-Berg there. The kicking in Landers Crusaders was bad. This game going the same way so far. They're just checking to see if his heel is in the field of play. He goes for the dive. Oh, his foot was out. So it's going to be no try for Hudson-Berg. And we're back to 0-0. 2 disallowed tries at this stage of the contest. But just the back foot brushing the touchline there for Hudson-Berg. This one's going to get taken away as well. It's going to be the case of who can have a try that doesn't get disallowed in this matchup. And Hamish Brew, what do you make of the Rennie-Umaga combo? I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to Dave Rennie who he wants in that environment. And it seems like, you know, Rennie and Umaga, they might work well together. We'll have to wait and see, of course. And hey, Kiwi Lads channel, welcome in to kickoff. Hope you're doing well. Can you show the screen? Sadly, not any match footage or audio would get us taken straight off YouTube with a 3-month ban and potentially sued by the URC. But it is on URC TV as well as Super Sport. There are also a couple other broadcast options around the world, depending on where you are. So far, it's a GG, says Sven. Now, Andre Pollard kicks this one into touch for the Bulls, back to 0-0. Let's try the Stormers. It will also be taken away. I'm sure you're fasting for Ramadan. I am not. No, I did have food about 5 hours ago. Now ready for this line out here for the Stormers. This is where we have to see a few more tackles being made. Score says 0-5. Is that correct? It's wrong. They've just taken it away. Now thrown in. Nice take from the Stormers. Only sitting about 30 metres out from the try line. Damien Valimza, 2-man tackle on him by Pollard and Foster. It's going to feel like running into a brick wall with this Bulls defence. When they get it right, they manage to get this. Gerhard Stennekamp pops it up to Kurtley Arendse. Eldrick Lowe passed on the outside to Paul David. It becomes a foot race round the halfway line. Being able to shut him down, though, was Nkura and Hudson-Berg. A little bit of push and shove there between Nkura and Kurtley Arendse, who won't leave Nkura alone. I'm not sure what was going on there, but a bit of a temper being shown from Arendse. Perhaps frustration for what has happened so far in this game. Nice offload from Sebastian de Klerk, picked up on the outside for Yandre Rudolph. Goes one more. They'll check to see if the pass was forward. If it wasn't, could be a great chance for David Creel, but Sasha gets back and kicks this one back down the middle of the field. How is it 0-0? Because we've had 2 disallowed tries so far. I mean, I was only joking last week when I said Umaga and Dave. Says Sock, what is the time in New Zealand? It's currently 1:20 a.m. That's a hard clean out on Andre Pollard. And it's going to become a penalty against the Stormers side. Chopping low and chopping for the kneecaps of Pollard there. A bit of a cheap shot from the Stormers. I think it was either Tennyson or Schickerling to get that one wrong. Streaming on Crick HD. And also we have, it's a big shot coming in quite late. I want to say that it wasn't on purpose. It's a rough shot. It is Audrey Smith, in fact, who has been penalised for it, but Pollard is still down. No oxygen moment. And also, hi Hamish and everyone, says Ria, welcome in. Right, Pollard's had some water. Number 4, he's going to the bin here. Now, this is quite interesting. In Super Rugby, we saw something similar in the Highlanders versus Crusaders game involving Mitchell Dunshea. He did not receive a yellow card for it, mainly because maybe it was off the back of a box kick instead. But he will go to the bin for 10 minutes here. Audrey Smith with a cheap shot. Unsure if he can pull out of that one. Show it in real time, says Studs Race. Yeah, he seemed committed, although I guess it was one of those situations he would have been maybe better off going for a charge down rather than a tackle in that case. But now, about 12 metres out from the line. Even the commentators are saying maybe a bit hard done by Audrey Smith with how far he has come in from. Trying to line up that tackle. It doesn't look good in slow-mo, I will say that. It's one of those ugly collisions. And come on the Bulls, says Joe. Line out throw for Johan Robillard. Taken by Elric Lowe. We've had a few times already where we haven't seen tries be scored. We're seeing them be disallowed. Been told to use it once. 2 Bulls players actually breaking way off in front and not usable for the Bulls. So the Stormers will get themselves the scrum now. Currently 9 minutes remaining of that yellow card. It looks like Dion Foree is currently sitting down. Some sort of injury. I think it's just a bit of a cut on his leg. Hopefully anyway, because there's been too many times already that we've seen Dion Foree out with injury. We see it there. He's already heavily strapped with his legs. Paul DeVette represented the Stormers from 2018 to 2025, and now he finds himself up against them in this game. Hamish, you kind of look Egyptian. Well, I'm definitely not. I don't have any ties to Egypt that I know of. And we have there, Bull. Says Daniel there. Right, they are just trying to find the mark. Oh, okay. Interesting call there from the referee. He's just said if you want to scrum for the penalties, make sure you get legal dominance was the call. Hamish, are you fully Kiwi or do you have roots from Arab countries? No roots of Arab countries that I know of. Fully born and bred New Zealand. He looks Scottish descent. Maybe way back, way down the line, I think there was some sort of Scottish or Irish or English or something in there. But my sister did an ancestry test, but then never told me what she actually had as the results. Because, of course, whatever she is, I am. But she kept it all very secret. Now ready for the line out here. Okay, referee's really talking a lot about scrums with these two sides. So I would say that he's very much so watching it under the microscope. Yeah, my bad. Says Tikioff. Now thrown in. Nicely taken by the Stormers against the scrum feed. Andre Hugo Fento. Oh, that wasn't an offload on purpose, but it's worked out. JD Schickerling now running this one forward. Breaks through one. Elric Lowe takes him down. Maybe she's got different DNA. Says Studs Rose. Now back to Nkura. Nicely taken. 40 metres out from the line. Nkura. Hold to use it. By the referee, we are still 0-0. Hamish, I thought you were Arab when I first saw you. Says Turkiov. Now going to be knocked back onto the side of the left. And another knock on. Double knock on, in fact. So we go back for another scrum. This game, so far, I would say we're up to about our 7th scrum of 17 minutes. Which is not ideal. It has stopped the flow of this game a little bit. We haven't seen a huge amount of running rugby between these two sides as of yet, although there have been some good moments in between. And again, the referee just warning that if something happens again, there will be penalties. True Māori warrior, I love it. I'm not actually Māori either, though. New Zealand European, I believe, is what I tick in terms of when I had to do my exams and whatnot. What's your surname, Hamish? Says Roger. Well, the thing is, the surname, I don't know whether or not it would actually give away too much. In that regard, 4 handling errors from the Bulls compared to the 0 of the Sharks. So there's been one side that has been more likely to create the scrummaging chance. Does Hamish have some ancestors in Māori? No, I don't. We have got the new channel member, Geraldo. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Now kick downfield from Yandre Rudolph, looking for a 50-22, and tell you what, the big man's got it. A very early and sunny game, says Sven. Hamish, what is written in your grandpa's passport ID card? Was it British, says Turkeyov? Not sure. But I can't ask one of them on one side because he's dead. So that's slightly unfortunate, but someone will know. The nationality, there's still no connection to Egypt, though. As much as you're hoping there is, there's none. Hi, Hamish, says Daryl. Welcome in. If you are doing well, that's a great kick from Yandre Rudolph there, though. We'll now make it a 5-metre line out for the Bulls, who do still have the man advantage. Now, Johan Robillard. This one's rolling forward. The last one was well defended by the Stormers. This one, there's a penalty advantage and a penalty try that will lead to a yellow card against the Stormers side, who will now have to defend with only 13 men on the field for the next 5 minutes. I hope you are half Egyptian, says Turkeyov, and we have got there some skill on that Rudolph. He's a phenomenal player, and he's actually a lot younger than you think. Because people see him and think he's like 38, but I think he's only like 31, Yandre Rudolph. He's actually still got plenty of time ahead of him. In fact, he may even only be 29. But it's going to be Ben Jason Dixon who goes to the bin now. And Hamish, who do you think will win? I think that the fact that the Stormers have already had 2 yellow cards does not bode well for the overall outcome of this game for them. Definitely if the Bulls are able to score again throughout the rest of that time. How's the Lance so far? Most Stormers fans hate him. He hasn't done too much throughout the early stages of this contest from 15. He very much so can be either a 2 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. This game so far he's been a, you'd have to say, just a question mark out of 10, as we haven't really seen him. This rugby weather is cloudy with no wind. Says Sven, hello there, says Stormsy, welcome in. And we have got there, these past few games in Cape Town been hectic because of the heat, says Stormsy. It looks like Untatuko Mashunu had a bit of an injury there. But he is now all right. Going to be continuing. Is the stadium sold out? I don't know if it was sold out, but there's certainly a lot in attendance for this one. Would you ever go on a pretend date with me to make my aunt jealous? No, probably not. I think your aunt, didn't we work out that she wasn't that interested? Or was that someone else? Someone else was trying to set me up with their auntie. That seems to be something that's happening a lot recently. And I'm not really sure what's changed compared to earlier on when I wasn't being set up with random people's family members. And now a good run there from Ruan Nokia round the halfway line. Paul DeVette going now to Pollard, looking for the grubber in behind. Waiting for the bounce of the ball. It was unfavourable. Goes over the head of Sebastian de Klerk. It will now be the line out for the Stormers. Stormers are terrible. You got to love, says Royalty. 7-0. Says Dale in there as well, but it was a good attacking run from Eldrick Lowe initially, then got it away to Ruan Nokia. And we have got the cool story, bro. You had to go out with Buddy shopping, says Ruth. Now line out, 2 yellow cards at the moment for the Stormers side. Andre Hugo Fenta doesn't have a Ben Jason Dixon or actually an Adre Smith. So JD Schickling, you would assume, will be the target, and he is. They managed to win that one, although there was heavy pressure coming from Ruan Nokia on the other side. All is going to be there for Stephen Nkura to kick it up again. And we have got there, Stormers look very terrible. Bulls look outstanding. And the Bulls ex-Stormers 0. Says Dale there, bouncing the ball there from Lelion Zas. Passes it across to the right-hand side. Now sitting about 10 metres out from the try line here for the Stormers on attack with 13. Andre Hugo Fenty, you'd have to wonder how much protection they'll have in the breakdown, missing 2 of their clean-out. Options, wide cut-out pass from Sasha Feinberg, who Zulu is called as forward. They will go back. At the moment, the score is 7-0. In favour of the Bulls. The scoreboard has been utterly confused throughout this matchup purely because of all the disallowed tries that we have seen throughout this match. And there's going to be a penalty now Right, the referee has penalised the Stormers because one of them said a bad word. Right, Ruan getting called over now. Okay, that guy's a Springbok. People expect better of him. He's not going to have a spray at me. So, yeah, penalty against the Stormers for being mean. As in at 7-0 it is. But the scoreboard, it's been adding them on, and then it was taking them off for those other disallowed ones. So, I guess it wanted confirmation. It is an online scoreboard. So, I just have to wait for it to update. We have got there. Will you be covering the Sevens in LA tonight? We will be giving you updates about the game. But we will be doing the commentary for the Sevens tomorrow. Why is the scoreboard nil? Because it's an online scoreboard and already it's disallowed 2 tries, so they were probably waiting to make sure this one wasn't disallowed as well. But again, it's an online scoreboard. I can't do anything about it. Now, Ruan Nokia joining up with that breakdown alongside Ruan Vermaak to protect this ball for Paul de Vet. Now kicked in behind. Waiting for the bounce of the ball. It is favourable for Watercalant. Ref abuse just silly. Says Studs Rays and hello all and hello to Hamish. Says Reno, welcome in. Only 22.5 minutes through. I feel like they're going to need another try to be scored. Oh, advantage, was it? No. Referee put his arm out like an advantage, then took it away. So Nkura goes back to Sasha Feinberg, Ngume Zulu. This chat must drive you crazy, says Damien. Every once in a while. When the scoreboard's not playing the game, it's a fun one. Now kick downfield, nicely taken by Sasha outside of his 22. We'll kick this one back up high. Waiting for it. It's Andre versus Sasha in the air, and the penalty goes the way of Sasha. And we have got the ref as a snowflake. Yeah, although you can't get away with abusing a referee. Like, it's just not going to go well for them. How did the Stormers get 2 yellows? One was for a clean out on Andre Pollard after he had kicked the ball, and the other was for a penalty try that was scored by the Bulls side. And also we go there. Thanks, Charles. I'm told I'm like Ben Stiller funny with computers, so the computer systems might be down. Now ready for this kick at the post for Sasha. This would add 3 to the scoreboard. And come on the ball, says Ben. Sasha just physically assaulted the ref too. Don't touch the ref, says Studs Race. They'll have to be very careful. The fact that they have already received it, that they get a team warning. They've had multiple so far. Mainly from that scrum. I'd say that was the one that they received their biggest warning for. Do you like Australian people? I do quite like Australian people. I've got to say that. My sister's dating an Australian man. But he's all right. Now Sasha ready to kick this one. Misses it away to the left-hand side. And that one just going out to the side. Whereas one of the rules, if you get better to try, you will be awarded a yellow card. I know that in Super Rugby, they've changed the law, which involves that if you get yourself a yellow card, it doesn't necessarily have to be a penalty try. We'll go like that for now. That'll help. So almost back to 14 out there on the field. Mani Ngume Zulu says Mark. Nicely taken by David Creel. Only 25 minutes gone in this fixture. Paul de Vet across to Ruan Vermaak. Pollard finds Moody on the outside. Now Foster goes to Kurt Liarense. And wrestled down by JD Schickerling. There are no rules in rugby. He's all right as a Kiwi. Is Kiwi for a truly trustworthy or earnest gentleman, says Thuds Race. Hamish, if you were a female version, I know you would have a crush on Willow Rourke. If I was a female version. So you're saying, like, if I was female. It's one of the weirder ways I've heard it worded. But 64% predicting a win for the Bulls at this stage. 32% for the Stormers and 4% for the draw. Okay, so they've just cleared a bit of head contact with the TMO. Going to change rugby league restart rules next year. Teams that score has to kick the ball for the restart, says Sock. 26 minutes through, we get to another scrum in this matchup Luckily, I don't want to jinx anything, but we haven't had too many injuries throughout the early stages of this matchup, which is fantastic. You know, you look at guys like Dion Fourie back out there from his injury return. A few crucial members of both sides as well. A big push there from the Bulls. It was about to be awarded as a penalty, but the Stormers managing to get it out the back. Damian Valimza. Now right-hand side for Steven Nkura. Too many Springboks in the Bulls team. Can't see how they don't win, says Reno. Yeah, although the Sharks proved that it doesn't matter how many box you have, you can lose games. We saw that throughout last season. But yeah, I agree. They've got a really strong looking back line. Oh, that's a tackle in the air on Damian Valimza. Oh no, they've said he's jumped into it. That's an interesting call. We've seen a lot of those actually awarded in the other direction. But it will now be going back for the knock on. It will once again be the Bulls scrum feed, which makes the scoreboard interesting. And 26 minutes, Bulls 7, Stormers 0, scrum, says Dale. That is exactly what we've just said and have on the screen, yes. We have got there, Dion Fourie must be 40. He's getting up there in terms of age. But, I feel like he must have a milestone in mind, or he's one of these players that just rugby is his whole life, that he wants to keep on playing as long as he can. There were times where it looked like he was going to be retiring due to injuries, agree, but Sharks is a special case, as they don't gel, says Reno there. Yeah, that's one benefit that the Bulls have had. It's the fact that they've done quite well in the gelling department. 7 scrums so far they have got listed there, alongside a few resets. Do you remember when there was a fight between a British guy and an Indian in your live stream between Black Cats versus India? I don't. Like I mentioned, I've forgotten every stream that's taken place over the last month or so. It's going to be a free kick going the way of the Stormers for an early push from the Bulls. Why does the game sound so boring? What's going on with the game? There's been a lot of stoppages, I'll be honest. There hasn't actually been a huge amount to talk about outside of the set piece in this game. It can sometimes happen when these two South African sides go head-to-head. They cancel each other out, and it can turn into a bit more of a lower scoring, chess match. It normally opens up in the last 15 minutes, though, when they play. But yeah, it's been anticlimactic so far, with the only try being a penalty try between these two sides. Now rolling this one back for Paul de Vet from inside of the 22. Well, there is still plenty of rugby action to take place later on. Scotland versus Ireland in the Six Nations matchup. Someone who wins that game will be sitting top of the table heading into the final game of the weekend. Sounds like bad play and tons of yellow, says Reno. Yeah, we've had 2 yellows already throughout this one as well. So there's probably that rebuilding tentative side of the Stormers too, that they didn't want to go too much of a risk when they did only have the 13 or 14 on the field. They are now back to 15 though. Ben Jason Dixon returns from the bin. And go ball go, says Joey, get Sasha away from number 10, put Valimza there and Sasha in the centres, says Brian. One's going to be thrown in, nicely taken to the back by JD Schickerling. Going left-hand side, skip pass. This is a good chance here for the Stormers. One more pass to Lelion Zas. Cuts inwards round David Creel, who's decided he doesn't want to tackle today. That's about his 3rd missed tackle attempt. An advantage in favour of the Stormers. Now player leaving the foot. And now big chance, and this might be a yellow card against the Bulls as well. Steven Nkura going now to Marcel Tennyson. Do you give the Scots a chance? I think so. I think they'll go all right. Oh, beautiful flat pass. Damian Valimza runs the line, goes through, and scores the try for the Stormers. I feel like Hamish will marry a South African woman, says Turkiov. Am I going to South Africa to marry her, or is she coming to New Zealand, Turkiov? Because if it's the one where I have to go to South Africa, I have to start saving up, won't I? Poor officiating, says Mr. RB. The advantage, it was in play for the Stormers, and then just a good attacking flat run from Damian Valimza through a gap. Andrei Rudolph, he was frustrated with something that had happened in that breakdown. He was having a bit of a push and a shove, forgot that they will still have to defend. And I see we are playing aerial ping pong again. It irritates me so much. Please stop it. CS Hardest, but that kick has gone over. And that is now going to make the score after 31 minutes. 7 points each for these two sides. Stormers needed that for Valimza to take a little more responsibility, relieve some pressure from Sasha, see studs race. Yeah, that's the thing. They've got two very attacking-minded players in that middle like part of the field. It's just about being able to use both of them. Like Sasha does have a huge amount of pressure on him normally, but he does need Valimza to be able to really help him out too, like you said. And when they're both gelling and both working together nicely, very dangerous combo. We have got there, I was then knocked on by number 5. So another scrum. Rua Nokia's hands are really letting him down. I've been listening to Hamish for 2 years now, and everyone seems to try and make for him. Says Cheetah. Yeah. Although, can confirm, it hasn't worked yet because I am still single. Why is your memory so weak? Do you live in isolation? Says Turkey. I think it's just from doing so many weekends of staying up for so long. Like, it's not terrible outside of rugby now, but it's not the best. Like, I've probably got the memory of about a 65-year-old man now. I've learned and it's probably progressed to that stage in the last year. So, I don't know. It's not ideal, but we'll get there. Now, scrum feed here for the Stormers. Sitting 23 metres out from their line. Now off to the right-hand side, Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu almost goes through. In fact, he does. Breaks the tackle. He's got Ruan now with him. Why is he kicking that? He's gone for the crossfield one. It's skidding on. It's going to go into touch. Just got too much on it. Lelion Zas was ready to run on and get himself the chance of a score, but Sasha just booting it a little bit too hard. It's one of those scenarios. They could have just looked to pass it across. Nokia fan here. He's having a rubbish half hour so far. Hamish, is George married? He is not married, no. The other two Kiwi lads are a lot closer. Isaac is engaged. Daniel is all but. Now you're watching the game. It's not on Sky TV, says Rut. So here in New Zealand, it's on URC TV, which is a separate subscription. The season pass is about 80 New Zealand dollars, unfortunately. It used to be on TVNZ here. And I have a question. If you're doing so much work, do you ever get time to rest? Not a massive amount, which is probably another reason why it's gotten worse. That one will go into touch. Now sitting about maybe 35 metres out from the line will be the Stormers' line-out throw. Did you hear Tony Brown's comment on Sasha's form of late? He said, give him a cuddle and he'll be all right, says Daryl. I did not hear that, but like that's the thing. A couple bad games doesn't make a player. And Sasha's one of those guys. How once he puts an international kit back on, he will probably be one of the guys to keep a close eye on. Well and truly, De Villiers comes on the field. That is Paul De Villiers replacing Dion Forey, who has played 34 minutes in his return matchup. Now another chip of mine from Sasha straight into the hands of Sebastian de Klerk, hit hard by Damien Valimza. Also, Hamish, the coaching team seems to be building nicely for the Kiwis. Just hope Rennie gets some power to choose more talent. Yeah, although he got the side-eye from David Kirk when he was asked about the overseas selection policy. Rennie said he'd love to have access to those players, and David Kirk kind of looked at him as if to say, that's not what we agreed we'd say in this press conference. Nice run there from Elric Lowe. Puts the pass on the outside to Paul Devet. They're sitting now 20 metres out from the Stormers line. Over the ball and winning the penalty there. And what a Kalant getting the all-important steal. Good afternoon, says Mohadeen. I'm back, who scored for the Stormers and the Bulls. So the Bulls got themselves a penalty try, and Damien Valimza scored the try for the Stormers. Those are the only two that we have had thus far in the first 35 minutes of this game. You see it there, though. What a Kalant. Getting over the ball. Had a couple Bulls players trying to clean him out, including Elric Lowe. But wasn't able to shift him. Looks like Ontatuku Machuna may have taken a bit of a knock in that breakdown as well. That ball kicked into touch. Another line out. How's it all, says Brendan. Welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. Why is it not on Sky Sports, says Alistair Davids. If you're talking about here in New Zealand, they have really not had the licensing for the URC for the past couple of years. But, yeah, it was TVNZ Plus, and then it became URC TV for us here. When it's the Sevens first game. First game of the Sevens has taken place in an hour and 15 minutes time. And that will be Fiji versus Argentina. Having 15 to 10 off time, says Kyle. Looks like he's feeling a bit of the pain there, Sebastian de Klerk. Waiting to make his way back to his feet and continue in this match. Which Premier League club do you support? I don't really have a team. In fact, I haven't kept track of the Premier League in quite a number of years. Having the man of the match vote at some stage throughout the later stages of this one. The game is on TG4, free-to-air. And it's good that there are some locations that have it as a free-to-air option. Crowd all absolutely loving the atmosphere and the game so far. We do see Diamani has also made his way onto the field for the Stormers side. So another early change here. And that is going to be for De Villiers. Oh. What happened to Paul De Villiers? I actually missed that. Did anyone see what happened to De Villiers? He only made his way on about a minute ago. Who wins the Six Nations today? France are in the box seat, I think. And if it wasn't for that extra bonus point that they received in the game up against Scotland for getting the 4 or more tries, I think that, Scotland or Ireland could have had a decent chance. But France, it is their competition to lose. But I'm looking forward to seeing who out of Ireland or Scotland step up and sit in first up until that game. Now, Andre Hugo-Finta breaking off the back there. Stephen Nkura looking away to the right-hand side. Almost managed to pierce through the gap. Again, the defence of the Bulls. There was a little knock-on the ground and another penalty advantage against the Bulls for side entry. You don't answer my question. What happens when Blitbox win the New York? If you're talking about if they win the whole of New York Sevens, they win the whole competition too. Did you ever play football? Back in my day, I used to be a goalkeeper. But that's as far as it ever went. And we have got the game is on TG4. These ads are non-stop. YouTube revenue gathering. CSSOC. Yeah, I don't actually know how they decide who goes or who gets ads when. So I don't think everyone gets them at the same time, which is the kind of weird thing. Who's your all-time favourite cricket player? Ooh, all-time favourite's a tricky one. Williamson's got to be up there a little bit. Just from how long he's been around for the Kiwis. There's also a guy at one of the local garages who looks like Kane Williamson. That doesn't really influence. I'd say about 2% influence on it being Kane Williamson. Now running this one forward for the Stormers. 10 metres out Nkura, finding Niddling Fauchier's hands. The Bulls trying to defend with 3 minutes remaining in this half. Hakshiva Diamani. Oh, balls come out the back. Cleaned up by Yandre Rudolph. Although the Stormers almost able to take that one straight back. The limbs are frustrated at the referee. Has to be careful not to take those frustrations out. This could get penalised just like we saw Intatuku Machunu have earlier on. Now trying to run this one out from their own 22. Harold Foster knocked it on the ground. Clear knock on too, but seems like it's being called as play on now. Who's a cricketer you've heard about that you wish you saw play? I mean, I would love to see what all the hype was about Bradman. I'm a bit too young to have watched him play, but everyone always says that watching him bat was incredible, but you never really find people who have actually watched him. Now going off to the left-hand side, Geland ball to Sasha Feinberg and Gomer Zulu. 22 metres out from the line, the Stormers. Back to that full 15 after having those 2 yellow cards earlier on. Miguel said, hi, how are you? I'm doing good, thank you. Excited for all the rugby that has taken place today. Including 3 games of the Six Nations just around the corner. Passed on the outside to Hartzenberg. Tries the offload. Going to be back there. Rudolph putting pressure on again. And he's managed to rip that ball away on the ground. Oh no, penalty awarded to the Stormers for playing it on the ground. I'm good and you, says Miguel. I'm doing very well. I'm only be able to see you for the World Cup. Will you miss me? Says, cool story. Absolutely. And we have got there Lance Klusner. And the Stormers smelling the try line. It looks like they are actually going to be opting for the 3-point option here rather than going for the 7. We've given them a lead heading towards this halftime break. Yandre Rudolph. Just making sure him and the referee are on the same page there. Jacques Callis. We see it there. He did just play it from the turf. And says Reno there from Yandre Rudolph. How many are off on yellows now? No one off at the moment, but the Stormers have had 2 yellow cards thus far. And they did overlap with each other. Why take the 3? I think it's just to get some form of points. Although Sasha's kicking hasn't been ideal. So it's also a bit of a risk in some regards. Who's kicking for the Bulls and the Stormers? Says Mohadin. So the Bulls, they have got Andre Pollard kicking for them and Sasha's kicking for the Stormers. Saw them all play, says Clint D. And I think we all were, says Daryl. Now, 7 seconds remaining. Shot clock's at 0. That's an interesting one. He was able to still take the kick after the shot clock reached the 0 mark. The kick does go over. And it's 10 points to 7 in favour of the Stormers. Is it half time or is there still time for one more restart? Obviously, the shot clock was wrong because it was actually after the 60 seconds that Sasha did take that kick. Seems like we have got time for one more kickoff here. Now going down towards the 22. Knock on from Moody. Goes back for the Stormers, who look like they're going to try and have a run of this one. Although, yep, kicking it into touch. And it is now going to be halftime. The Stormers leading at halftime in this contest. 10 points to 7. The North-South derby. Has it lived up to expectations as of yet? I would say not quite, but we should have an eventful second half on the cards. And hopefully there are a lack of cards throughout the second 40 as well. Jacques Callis was selfish, batted for his average, went missing during crunch time. Kind of like Sasha, says Robbie. And we have got there Van der Vesterhuizen, don't like the Bulls, why is he blowing? Says Music. And also we have got there some great cricket names in the chat. I saw them all and they were all brilliant, says Studs Race. And Jonty would be up there to watch, he was brilliant. We are going to get to see some young talented players from the Proteas in action later on today. We're actually going to be covering that game on the channel, ladies and gentlemen. So that is New Zealand versus South Africa in the T20 series here in New Zealand, kicking off at 8:15 a.m. for you guys in South Africa on Sunday morning. And yeah, going to be covering it. Hakshivar do everything, says Sash. I still don't know what happened to Paul de Villiers, but he went off extremely quickly. There was a South African cricketer from the 80s, who I saw a couple of times, can't recall his name. And also we have there Megan Forey, says Stormers for life, watching out of Canada in there too. So yeah, hopefully you are enjoying the rugby so far. You obviously are hoping that the Stormers can get over the line. Thanks, mate. You're a lifesaver listening to your commentary while on a train to Oxford, says FOMO there. We got plenty more coming up later on. The matchup between Ireland and Scotland is kicking off in 1 hour, 20 minutes time. Our live stream for that one is starting in around an hour's time. Let we see the match. Unfortunately, it would be illegal to show any match footage, but you can catch it on SuperSport. You can watch it on URC TV. There are plenty of options around the world to be able to watch these games. You just got to know where to look. And also, you just got to know what country the options are available in. How many box on the fields for both sides? So for the Bulls, they've got Gerhard Stennekamp. Johan Krobele has had Springbok experience, hasn't he? Wilco Low, Ruan Nokia, Marcel Kutsia back in the day, Elric Low, Hondre Pollard, Kutliarens, Kanan Moody, and also off the bench, they've got someone like a Willie LaRue and Marco van Staren. For the Stormers, they've got Untatuko Machunu, Andre Hugo Fentes had a brief amount of time in the box, same with Niling Fauchier, Dion Foree, Ben Jason Dixon, Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu, Damien Balimza. I think Warwick Kalant has had some options. Is it available in South Africa? It is on SuperSport as the option there. It's always the same when Van der Vesterhuizen blows against the Bulls. Says Music. Although he has given the Stormers 2 yellow cards throughout that first half. No yellows as of yet against this Bulls side. And how many... Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? And yeah, actually so much rugby there is. And then the fact that we get through those games of the Six Nations, and then there is still the game between the Blues and Moana Pacifica taking place in the afternoon for us here in New Zealand. Then the T20 and then the Sevens all throughout tomorrow as well that we are going to be covering. We have got their Command Sharks, I assume that is, from Floriano. The Bulls need a 9. Although they did have that late change. Bros Papia ruled out of this contest. We did see Paul de Vet promoted into the starting lineup. Yellow cards mean nothing, mate. Well, they kind of do. There were 20 minutes or probably about 15 minutes of the game where the Stormers were down a man in this matchup. I don't think I've ever heard someone say yellow cards mean nothing. That's quite the statement. But they're just showing that Yandre Rudolph 50-22. It was a beautiful kick downfield and actually led to the first opportunity for the Bulls off the penalty try. We have there, can I ask you? Can you ask me what? What's your team? I actually can't remember. Yellowstone card, says Robbie, in there too. And DeVet is not using the Bulls forwards, says Onkara. Yeah, see, I don't think we've seen enough of the running game of those Lucies for the Bulls. You've got Elric Lowe, who when he has had the ball in hand, he has been able to make a very decent amount of meterage. Yandre Rudolph, normally known for being able to get those post-contact meters too, but they haven't used them to the maximum as of yet. Average, thank you. It's Mago Mazulu. For Sasha, you're doing great. Maria, South African. Says Vidzaya. Yeah, that definitely helped me with my pronunciations, wouldn't they? New Zealand man, you've been watching too much Yellowstone series, says Cheetah Fasted. Or Fastest. They're saying here that 10-7 is a great result for the Stormers. Who's doing all the 7s, please? Says Mohadin. We will be providing the updates for the 7s on the channel for day 1, but we haven't actually got anyone organised to cover the 7s on the channel. But yeah, like we'll be giving you updates of every single try that is scored throughout the contest while covering the Six Nations games. But day 2 of the 7s, we will be well and truly kicking off for just showing that disallowed try from Hartzenberg. The boot just brushing the try line there. Or sorry, the sideline, I should say. Also did see that disallowed try due to a knock-on from Paul DeVette in the breakdown. And also a forward pass out wide from the Stormers that was disallowed also. So we're seeing 3 disallowed tries, 2 of which against the Stormers here. Is it fair to compare the All Blacks versus Springboks to the Stormers versus Bulls? Probably not. I'd say that they're a little bit different. I'd say that Stormers, Bulls, the comparison here in New Zealand's probably either Crusaders versus Blues or maybe even Crusaders versus Highlanders as the best comparison. And Bulls need to be a bit more direct and carry through the middle more, just like they did against the Sharks and the Lions. So, yep, busy weekend for us Kiwis. You also got Shane Van Gisbergen racing tomorrow in NASCAR, and Scott Dixon and Scott Mick in IndyCar tomorrow too. Great weekend. Says Sock. They are having a giant inflatable T-Rex race happening in the background at the moment as the commentators are just giving a bit of a rundown of the first half. Who wins? Well, the Stormers weren't given much of a chance in this game, but they're not doing too badly at the moment. Van der Westhuizen, as master crooked ref, I know him, says Music Man. Do you know him personally, do you? Does he come for dinner? Even kits off a man who's been in a lot of scrums. He would be enjoying that early battle at scrum time. There were plenty of them, about probably 6 scrums in the first 20 minutes of this contest. Okay, Stephen Kitsoff saying that the Stormers have stood their ground out there. The do viewers get ads at the same time on the live streams. I don't think everyone gets them at the same time. I think that for some reason YouTube kind of put them into groupings and do them kind of separately. I also don't know when they put them on. I think it's all automated on the streams. I really don't know how to use YouTube, I'll be honest. We've done a whole heap of streams, but I've just kind of gone live and that's about it. That kick of Yandre Rudolph, though. It was a substantial moment in the game for the Bulls, and it was bringing their lone try in the contest with that rolling maul yellow card penalty try. One was against Ben Jason Dixon, and that was after they had just had someone sent to the bin not too long ago, Ardre Smith, for a late shot. How's your job as the professor? Well, we're certainly not a professor, I can tell you that right now. I wouldn't want to be in charge. Well, to be fair, I do teach kids cricket. So I guess that's about as far as my professoring does go. I just show them there. That was Aka van der Merwe. They're doing a little bit of an interview with at halftime. Lawson in the F1 China today. Says Sock. I assume there'd be some sort of UFC on as well this weekend. I know that there's some golf happening. Josh Emmett versus Kevin Villeos. I think it's the main event there by the looks of it. So there's just so much on, and almost too much to be able to cover everything. But we are going to try our best to cover as much as physically possible, including the Proteas versus Black Caps game taking place for the T20 cricket. What you had for supper, says Mohadin. I had some bread. It's about as far as my tea has gone. Dion Ferrer is 39 years old, still messing the Bulls up, says Davian, although he did get taken off early due to injury, unfortunately, or it may not even have been for injury. It was 34 minutes in, trying to maybe just bring him back slowly. But then Paul de Villiers made his way on and went off pretty much straight away, which was a bit of a concern. Who do you think will be Dave Rennie's halfback pairing for the All Blacks? Very hard to say. I think that Roygaard and McKenzie have a decent chance of being that combo that Rennie will go with. But you just don't know, really. He might even go for 2 Chiefs. He might even go for Roygaard as an impact off the bench. I'm not using data on this game anymore. Stormers will win. Van der Vesthuizen is playing here. Again, man of the game, going to watch other sports. Says Music Man. Yeah. Oh, well. Now, moving on to the second half, we will get to see a bit of impact from the two benches. Willie Leroux, the experience for the Bulls. Marco van Staden also to make his way off. Nassim Carr, they've gone with that 6-2 split of being able to use maybe a little bit more in the gas tank early from some of their forwards, then have the replacements later on. Try and really take the Stormers off their feet at altitude. You're looking forward to the craziness of Super Sunday for you Saturday for Europe. Says Sean, I am very excited. I'm just hoping that it delivers. You know, at the end of the day, Ireland versus Scotland, whoever wins this game or that game, if it's Scotland, they have to win with a bonus point to have any sort of pressure on the French, make that game that little bit more exciting. Is that guy saluting the DJ? That was interesting. We have got there, who do you think will win between the Sharks and Munster next week? I think it will depend a little bit because Munster won't have their players, will they, for the Six Nations guys? I don't think they'll be in there. So it may be the case of the Sharks. That would be their best case scenario of being able to beat them. And next week, Friday or Saturday, it's EID by me. Won't be able to watch next week. Please forgive me. I will forgive you, Mohadeen. It is all good. Next week, we are going to have the URC back. We're going to have Super Rugby, also the Montevideo Sevens, taking place in Uruguay. That is Sevens 2 that will be happening. But these are the games of the URC. Starting up next weekend, the Bulls versus Cardiff at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning. That game is a wait and see for myself as my team have made it through to the semi-finals and I may have to play in that matchup. Lions versus Edinburgh, that is 1:45 a.m. Sharks then going head-to-head up against Munster. And following that, Glasgow versus Leinster, which should be a fantastic game near a top-of-the-table clash between those two sides. And then the Stormers, they actually play on the Monday morning up against the Dragons. That one should be covered on the channel as well. This is the way that the URC table sits currently. As you can see there, if this game remained the way that it is, the Stormers would actually move themselves right back up into the 4th place position. The Bulls, they would have won with a bonus point that would pop them up, or even without a bonus point, that would pop them into 7th. Currently, the Sharks are the only South African side outside of the top 8, but there's a big fight going on from about, I would say, 7th to 10th. At this stage, only 2 of those sides will be able to go through. Minimal games remaining for the sides as well. A bit of an exciting one in terms of the finish on the cards. We have got there, do you think the Stormers will win next week? We have, I think the Stormers will have a decent chance. Otherwise, Papier starting on the list. Portavet started, not Papier, says Davian. You are correct, but these lineups were made a lot earlier, and it was a late change of Paul de Vet in the starting lineup. We have got there is a fight, says Hamish, steers Turkey off. And also Sharks going head-to-head, lads, going with Leicester, says Hamish. And also I think the Sharks Munster will have rotated side. Yes, it's all about being strategic at this stage of the season too. I do see that Willie Leroux has made his way onto the field for the Bulls. Another change in that department. The Bulls making a few switches early. Typical always my Sharks, says Sock. And also, Bulls will or have to win home advance, says Julian. Yeah, currently on a 4-match winning streak. Where's Papier? Late injury that did take him out of the starting lineup. So Zach Berger will be making his way off of the bench. Sasha Feinberg, Ngume Zulu made his way on. You were shouting out the person. Honestly, the next round of the Champions Cup, I think the Stormers going to get messed up by Toulon. Yeah, see, it's a tricky draw, isn't it? Because, like, with those losses for the South African sides in the group stage, it means that the Bulls are also away from home up against the Glasgow Warriors. And I'm curious to know what type of team they throw out there for that game, because we've got to remember, this Bulls side are on the verge of losing their spot in the top 8, definitely if they lose this game. So then do you put all your eggs in the basket of the Champions Cup and try and go far, or do you go experimental and hope for the best? Now rolling this one back. Going to be a chance for Stephen Unkura. Does kick it high around the Ruan Vermaak. Second 40 underway. Kanan Moody slaps it back onto the side of the Bulls. It's a good take. Now playing halfback was David Creel. Willie LaRue, big wide. Cut out pass to Harold Foster. Does well to be able to keep it in the field of play. Very close to the sideline. Eventually looked like he was wrestled out, but in fact, referee says play on. Paul DeVette back across to the right-hand side. Trying to find that ball in the breakdown. Now Johan Robela. Some good early phase play here from the home side. It doesn't make sense for me how the Bulls win one game in the Champions Cup and qualify for playoffs. The Sharks win two and don't qualify at all. Yeah, it just comes down to those bonus points and how it all works out with who else is in the group and who's had more wins in that department. I know that Poe were very close to sneaking through, weren't they? In the group, but they are in the Challenge Cup now. Our right-hand side, Marcel Kutsia offloads to Ruan Nokia. He's had a tough day when it comes to carrying. He's managed to hang on to that one. DeVette going off to Ruan Vermaak. Nice phase play here from the Bulls, up to 10 in a row. DeVette, they have options wide on the right-hand side, including someone lurking right next to the touchline. I believe it is Sebastian de Klerk, but for now they will go up to the top side of the field, up to 13 phases now. 10 metres out from the line. David Creel can't get through. The tackle with Ben Jason Dixon. It's a hard collision. We heard that one through the referee's microphone on Ruan Vermaak. Looking for the steal there for the Stormers. Now Marcel Kutsia. Great phase play from the Bulls. The most that we've seen throughout this whole contest. 16 phases in a row. Now still told to continue using it. Andre Pollard goes to Willie LaRue. Tries the little shuffle short ball to Kane and Moody. Tackled by Valimza. Those two men can find themselves alongside each other in the South African international kit, but for now, they are head-to-head. Ruan Nokia, two-man tackle on him by the Stormers. 19 phases. Great defence from the Stormers side inside of their 22. Yet to give away a penalty advantage. Gerhard Stennekamp lined up by Jason Dixon. And no penalties still to come. Paul DeVette crossed to Pollard. Now they're looking to go out to Sebastian de Klerk. Kicked him on from Billy LaRue, and that one goes dead. They'll go back to where it was kicked from. Hamish, you should do a live stream where you talk only with your live viewers so we can get to know you more, says Turkeyov. I feel like throughout the channel's history, though, the ones who have tuned in regularly do know quite a bit about myself. Now going right-hand side, chance again for the Bulls. It is knocked on this time. Scrum feed on the halfway line for the Stormers. Sunshine after a thunderstorm at Pretoria, the hardest game to play so early on the Saturday afternoon, says Anthony. Looks like Wadacalant is currently suffering a little bit of maybe winding. Maybe a rib injury, actually, the way that they are putting the ice pack on it. Represented Racing 92 in 2022-23. Since then has found the home at the Stormers. Referee just finding out whether or not it is just that he is winded here. Oh, yeah, bit of a cheap shot there from David Creel with a elbow to the ribs of Wadacalant. Now, we did see the penalty go against a player earlier on in the contest. I'll be happy it's Blitzbox game. Do I know Paul Pogba? I know of him. I don't know him personally, though. We're going to see the replay. Yeah, see, Andre Smith, he did that same thing on Andre Pollard, except he took him out in the legs rather than in the ribs. Could easily be the penalty against this Bulls side. Okay, they're just finding the mark of where it was. And the Stormers will get themselves the penalty. Only 43 minutes down in this contest. And also, Stormers will win this game by 3 points. The Bulls can't play in a storm. And did the Stormers beat Toulouse ever? Says Mohadeen. I don't know about their history up against Toulouse. I can't think of a time. They've beaten Racing, or sorry, not Racing. They've beaten La Rochelle before. Hamish, were they any random people who approach you in public and ask for a picture? Not like straight away, but people have recognised me and then got in a picture in the end. I actually had a fella who showed up at my house the other day and he recognised me. He wasn't like showing up on the pure purpose of trying to find me, but he said he watches the YouTube streams. One second, we'll go like this. We'll go like that as well. Sasha Feinberg Ngume Zulu putting that ball into touch. I'm just looking at the time at the moment. I don't think this game's going to be finished in time for my next live stream starting. So I'm going to have to delay that one a little bit, I'd say. Just to make sure that we can get it. So, will we have to delay it? 40 minutes from now. I will delay it just in case, but worst comes to worst, I can start slightly earlier. And now will be the line out. Taken there by the Stormers, Stephen Nkura. Going away to the right-hand side. Now rolling this one back. Told to use it. This one's an interesting position to be kicking from. It was just outside of the 22. Kanan Moody does take the mark. And Skulk Burger, of a commentator, says Francois. One's going to be put into touch by Kanan Moody. Doesn't quite get the distance that he would have been after. About 25 metres out from the line. Does your iPhone have iOS 26? I don't think so. The South Africans on this channel need to get Hamish a job at Super Sport. Says Cheetah Fasted. Or Fastest, I should say. Andre Hugo Fenter. I mean, if anyone in South Africa can find some sort of like company over there that wants to do some sort of sponsored series, yeah, I'll be keen. I mentioned about it a while ago how I want to do some sort of thing involving Bryce, but it would be very tricky to organise. How many people live in your town, Hamish? Like 5,000, I think, in the whole town. Although outskirts probably about 7,000 included as well. There's quite a rural, quite a farming community around the place. Now Nkura goes to the right-hand side. Sasha Feinberg and Zulu passes on. What a Kalant to Hudson-Berg. It is forward though. They'll go back for another scrum. Scott Berger got a son in commentary. Says Sook. Okay, the first one was the four pass. Then it was the knock on. And yeah, just getting that one a bit too far out in front for pass from Sasha to Lent. And we have got there, did you ever try a Hades? No. Is your town rich? Says Mohadeen. I don't think so. I think it's just a normal New Zealand town. We've been busy preparing the food for tomorrow's braai. Says Bruce, scrum feed now for the Bulls, just on their own 22-metre line. Currently still very close between these two sides, just the 3 points separating them. And Scotland should have been in prime position. Unfortunately, the Italy game, bonus point handed to the French, will come back to haunt them. Says Ronald in there, I should say. Do you eat dates? I think I've had dates ages ago, but I haven't had them in recent times. Now scrum reset here. See there, just a little bit of frustration being shown for these two sides at scrum time. My idea was getting you and Tim to work together. You doing the commentary and Tim doing the analysis. I think you guys would make a great team for the greatest tournament in South Africa. Says Cheetah Fasted there. And the Bulls are struggling with it out in Bros Papier. But they do have Zach Berger off the bench, and he's been a decent impact kind of player overall for the Bulls. So, like, even if they're struggling now, I feel like there's still enough time. Imagine a vibe getting a chicken puri steak and getting some chips watching the Rugby World Cup final between the All Blacks and Springboks. Imagine the vibe in Sydney. Says Turkeyov, that's going to be the penalty for collapsing the scrum. And it does now go in favour of the Stormers. Do they want the 3 points to lead by 6? Or do they go for the corner? I think the corner is the option. 5,000 souls and 22 cricketers. Why don't you leave YouTube and put Tim on it? Says Mohadeen. As in like that I just stopped doing streams, Mohadeen. In general. Yeah, just the collapsing front row of the Bulls. They did have the scrum feed as well. The scrums have been a bit of a lottery throughout this game as to who is going to get penalised at what time. This is some sadness when the Black Caps lost the final. I saw you being sad, but I don't think you being sad when All Blacks lost the final, says Turkeyov. I don't actually think I was that sad. It was just I was that sleep deprived that, like, there was, in a way, I was just glad that the game was over. Because Black Caps were only scoring about 4 and over during the later stages of that final. Mornay Smith has a big job to do at the scrum. Got smashed there, says Studs Race. A side on the Bulls that are normally known for that physicality at scrum time will not be happy with going backwards. They've been told to use it again here, the Stormers. Pretty mediocre from both teams. Neither want to win this one. Maybe a draw would be a good result, says Ronald. You see, a draw would kind of help both teams, wouldn't it? But yeah, neither side has taken this game by the scruff of the neck as of yet. Rugby Itch, aka Tim, looks like Hamish's twin cousin. Now an advantage to the Stormers. Oh, another one. That is 7 offside. That is against Eldrick Lowe, and Kura goes to Sasha. Short ball knock on. Or is it? No, referee says play on, so they're going to keep on going here. No, now he calls it as the knock on. And they will go back again. Now we have their bad idea. Dean, what you trying to do? Says Sock. Okay, and Kura's just asking the question to the referee, how many in a row do they have to give away before we get towards that yellow card territory? Go to Scottburger Senior's restaurant near Wellington. You come out hungrier than you went in, says Bruce. Right, they have taken on the shot here, the Stormers. I understand it. It gets them ahead by 6 points if this one goes over. But at the same time, is this the time that they could have gone a little bit more aggressive and looked to put the Bulls under pressure? Get one of them sent to the bin. Have that advantage for 10 minutes. No way. It's probably letting the Bulls off with a bit of a warning here, only taking the 3 points. But it is easy. It is straight out in front. Hamish, were you sad when the All Blacks lost the game? I mean, as a kid, or Black Caps lose a game? Not really. I've never really been one to get, sad about teams losing. Because at the end of the day, that is literally what sport is. You win some, you lose some. And I think you got to learn how to accept defeat in sport, because or else, no one's ever going to be happy. And it's the ones who can't accept defeat that look to, chuck abuse at the players and everything like that I just don't understand that logic. At the end of the day, they are people too, and, you sometimes have an off game. Stormers scrum is a weapon while Thuku Machunu is on the field, says Studs Race. Has game been played outside the 22 areas, says Anthony. We've seen some play in the middle of the field, but most of it has been the kicking downfield. Now, Steven Nkura rolling this one back for yet again another box kick. Goes towards halfway. Lelion Zas chasing after it. Nicely taken by Billy LaRue. Offloads to Moody. A lot of handling errors. Wonder if the hottest month on record is having an effect on ball handling, says Cheetah Fasters. It could be. I think that we've seen quite a few of these games affected with handling errors. Big counter-ruck there from the Stormers, almost able to turn the ball over. It becomes unplayable. So the Stormers get themselves the scrum now. Oh, and it becomes a penalty. Same as we saw earlier on, the abuse thrown at the referee will not be tolerated. Okay, so Kanan was clearly dropping into the contact, they've said. And then I think it was Eldrick Lowe who was throwing a bit of wording at the ref. And he changes that at halftime. We did see Billy LaRue make his way on for the Bulls. Okay, he's just saying there, just like Sasha sprayed him in the first half, he's not going to take it from the Bulls either. Were you sad about the All Blacks lost the Rugby World Cup? I mean, there was a part of me who knew that New Zealand as a whole would be quite sad with the result. But at the same time, I think because of the way that the World Cup had been and the fact that we covered every single game on the channel, I feel like I was more happy that we managed to get through such a large tournament like that. That at the time the result kind of, it sounds weird to say, but it didn't hit me, if that makes sense. Now Sasha to line up another 3-pointer here. And my dad always says if you can't fix it with your hands or can't control it with demands, then don't worry about it. Just a waste of emotion, says Sock. And that is why there is so much kicking. The ball is wet with sweat. Now Sasha strikes. He's got plenty of that one, but he's actually missed it away to the side. And 13-7 says Dale is the scoreline, just like it says on the screen. And we have got there, the ref is hilarious, says I lollipop. You going to cry next year? Cry next year, as in at the World Cup? You think it would go well if I show some emotion rather than being a robot? Now, nice take there. Oh, it's a hard landing. He's landed on the back of his neck there for Array Smith. But he looks like he's all right. Or no, now he's lying back down. I don't think he felt too great after that one. This kicking behind from the Stormers again, just forcing the Bulls back into their own area. And Waterkalan gives the thumbs up, 36 degrees after a thunderstorm. Humidity will be in the 90s. And what do you think about penalties for swearing, says Neil Bester? Well, I think you shouldn't be allowed to chuck abuse at a referee. So, like, normally it's not so much the swearing, but it's the intent behind it. And at least he's been consistent in this game. But at the end of the day, referees, they don't go out there and ref a game just to be sworn at by players. Like, you see it at lower level stuff as well, and it is pretty rough. So these guys are supposed to be role models for younger generations of players. So you got to show the ref some respect. Even if you disagree, you just go, oh, well, that one's gone against us. We move on. 26 minutes left. And when the All Blacks lose the quarterfinals. So yeah, here's Mohideen. I'm very, very, very sad that we lost the 1991, 95, 99, 2003, 2007, 2019, 2023 World Cups. Thanks for reminding me. See, it's Michael. They're just showing like that side-by-side view of Andre Pollard and Sasha Feinberg and Ngome Zulu. So far, Sasha's kicked the ball 337 metres throughout this game. Pollard's kicked at 61. Both have beaten one defender, so probably a quiet game in some regards for Sasha with the ball in hand. See some changes now being made by the Stormers. They are replacing their front row. We see Sandy making his way on, Matongo, and also JJ Kutsia. Swearing in Afrikaans is different. See, here's Neil Bester. What? So swearing at a referee in Afrikaans is all right? Is that what you're saying? How it doesn't mean as bad as swearing in English? Going off to the right-hand side, Paul Davet goes there to Marcel Kutsia. Now putting this one back into the pocket to Pollard. And that one does go into touch. 25 minutes remaining. Just the 2 tries in this contest. I have to say that is much lower than many people would have expected. Swearing at the ref is counterproductive. Well, it is, because you go from swearing at him one moment to asking him for a penalty the next. And it's like, he won't forget the fact that you've just had a go at him. Bulls are also making some changes now. Marco van Staden, he is on. And I think that was also Nassim Carr. Yes, it is. He's made his way on as well for Yandre Rudolph. Now thrown in, nicely taken by the Stormers line out, rolling more, going in the right direction towards the Bulls line. If the Stormers go a bit more aggressive for this final 25 minutes, they can find 3 tries. They would actually get themselves right up to second place in the overall standings. A penalty advantage now in favour of the Stormers, again picked up by Sasha Feinberg and Zulu, picked up by the Bulls. Double blow of the whistle here. This looks like it's going to be a visit to the pocket. Deliberate knockdown. Who's the referee today? Van der Vest, or was it Van der Vesthuizen? Someone said Van der Vesthuizen's name earlier on. And it's Kanan Moody going to the bin now for a deliberate knockdown. The Bulls now playing with just the 14 on the field. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, Moody's been called back out on the field now. Right, this seems like they've gotten confused here. Okay. It's an offside. Kanan Moody comes back onto the field because it wasn't a deliberate knockdown. No reason for players to swear at the ref. There will be enough of that from the supporters of whoever lose. Says Ronald. Yeah, so Moody is not yellow carded, ladies and gentlemen. They have taken that one back. They've given him the Uno reverse card. But the penalty will still be awarded to the Stormers. Okay, referee just asking the question if they are all good to go. I see Paul de Villiers is back out there on the field as well, which is good news for the Stormers side. So the penalty for offside going the way of the Stormers team. Sasha Feinberg and Zulu kicking it towards the touchline, and ref is lost. So here's Neil Bester. It was a bit of a confusing moment, wasn't it? With what just took place. Yeah, so they tried to rule that as a deliberate knock-on from Kane and Moody, but the TMO then ruled it as otherwise. Now rolling maul here for the Stormers. They are close to the sideline. I think they're going to get bundled into touch. Yes, they do, but going back for another penalty advantage in favour of the Stormers. Number 18, side entry there for the Bulls, so that'll be against Mornay Smith. He's under pressure at line out, at scrum time. Can't afford to be giving away penalties as well. Okay, it was an infringement in the line out. So it's going to be the line out again now for the Bulls, for the Stormers. We see it there, yeah, side entry from Mornay Smith. Getting on the wrong side. This is now the big chance for the Stormers to take momentum and take control of this game. There are a few Stormers supporters who have made the trip to Loftus for this contest. Now, our team actually helped and did something positive for the game. See, it's studs raised there. Which is great that they actually checked it all. Big rolling maul, and over they go, the Stormers. They score the try, and it looks like it's Paul de Villiers who manages to get it. The Stormers now leading 7 points to 18, 11 points in the lead. With about 23 minutes remaining, although now it sounds like the TMO is going to check this one too, just in case. The ripple was connected. I think they're checking for a truck and trailer here. And Damon Mornay says sock in there too, but Paul de Villiers is way off the bench, an instant impact from that man. Right, it sounds like it has been cleared, which is great news. No TMO says Joe. Yeah, so it sounded like the referee was talking away to the assistant referee just to make sure that there was nothing there. What is the game of the round for the Six Nations this week for you? I think it's got to be England-France, just because of the fact that whatever happens in that game has massive implications. Now, don't get me wrong, Scotland versus Ireland will hopefully be a good match, but I feel like both sides may limit their errors and just have a slightly more grindy type of contest, whereas France-England could be wide open, or at least I hope it is. I hope England look at the drawing board and go, right, we have to change what we did from last week. The score still remains 18-7. That kick misses from Sasha Feinberg and Gomez Zulu, and the ball kicked out on the full. Boy, what a Calamp there. Or was it? No, sorry, not kicked out on the full. It is going to be the line out for the Bulls. About 30 metres out. And come the Bulls, second half is come and get moving, says Ruth. And they have still got time, 21 and a half minutes left here, but they won't want to leave it too late in this scenario for the Bulls. They haven't had a huge amount of metres throughout pretty much this whole contest, or at least when it comes to just the general play. I feel like they need to just hang on to that ball a little bit more, similar to what we saw at the start of the second half, where they had about 26 or so phases. Tijak Vene wrestled down. Ball still there for Paul. The vet knock on from Eldrick Lowe. And they'll go back now for the scrum yet again. And this is beneficial for the Stormer side, as that will just use up seconds off the clock each and every time that it does take place. How has Sasha played today? He's been all right. He's had a lot of kicks downfield. We haven't seen a huge amount of that running game. Him and Andre Pollard have actually beaten the same amount of defenders from this game, so that tells you kind of what you need to know, just the one for each of them. Eldrick Lowe, he's had a busy day. 53 metres made from 4 carries. That tells me right there they need to get the ball to him more. We're now asking for stability at scrum time. Still 15 on 15 as well. For anyone who did hear about that Kane and Moody yellow card, it was then taken away, as it wasn't ruled as a deliberate knock-on. Scrum count hasn't been as many. The clock says 58 minutes, and my watch says 2 days. Says Anthony, that one's now going to be a penalty to the Stormers at scrum time. Again, the front row not quite able to handle the pressure. Seems like they're showing more Jan Hendrik Wessels here as the man who was penalised. Bulls very lucky not getting any yellow cards. Ref really like the Bulls. Says Mr. RB. We had a fella at halftime telling us that the Bulls, they were hard done by the referee. Did Kanan get a card? He did, but he didn't. He got given it, but then they took it away, so he was able to continue in this matchup. But that was just down to the fact that they felt like they made the wrong decision at the time. Now, line out again. I need to throw it in for the Stormers. Wasn't the straightest thing ever from JJ Kutsia, but straight enough. Got to get out of that breakdown for Elric Lowe, who's still trying to fight for his side. Probably one of the few players who have consistently just been putting in 150%. That one's going high, not backed by the Stormers again. JJ Kutsia goes to Steven Nkurasasha. Thought about the kick in behind. In fact, he will go for it. Just trying to play that territory game. Trying to force the Bulls that little bit further back. Good morning, says Jasmine. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're excited for the Sevens as well as the Six Nations. Hopefully all the Six Nation teams throw caution to the wind apart from France. Nobody has anything to lose by going for bonus point tries. Worst result for Ireland, Scotland, be no bonus. Yeah, see, no bonus would mean that France can kind of breeze up against England, whereas, you know, if Scotland get that bonus point, if they were to win the game, then it puts that little bit more pressure on the French to try and get a much quicker start. Now, Ben Jason Dixon in position, 30 metres out. That was a poor pass from the number 7, and it's knocked on by the Stormers. So again, we get a scrum. Show us the game, says Unati. And live on screen says Freddie. You guys twins, that was very similar timing. But it is available on Super Sport. It's available on URC TV. The United Rugby Championship website has a great section called Where to Watch. You'll be able to see your best options for being able to watch this game. Did Kanan get a card? Not in the end. They did rescind it. But a knock on there off a bit of a rough pass from Ben Jason Dixon. Bulls will get punished at Loftus today. Stormers on fire, says Asher. Or Ash, it is in fact. And Mr. South African sides in Super. Would have been so wild to see the likes of the Stormers against the Drua. Yeah, although the thing is, had the South African side stayed in Super Rugby, there's a chance we would have never seen the Fijian Drua get to take part in the competition. Same with Moana Pacifica. It was because of the missing sides that we got to see those sides really get the chance. The Fijian Drua would probably still be in the NRC at this stage and not getting that global recognition that they're receiving now. Big win for them over the Brumbies, by the way. In just the most recent round, getting their first ever win up against a Brumbies side. That is a knock-on from Billy LaRue. So we go back for another scrum. Come on, the Stormers, says Bruce. I miss those early days or early morning clashes. Kane's taking on the Sharks, etc. Says Neil. And go the Stormers, says Rhea. Will there be over 43 points? Not the way that these two sides are dropping the ball. It's the pass from Pollard going to Billy LaRue. Just a low pass. Not quite going the height that LaRue would have liked it. Now 17 and a half minutes left. I think I made the right choice by delaying that next live stream just that little bit more. And in fact, it may even have to be delayed again with how long this game is running. We have got another stoppage here. Just sorting out the injury. Our Bulls needing 12 points in 17 minutes is a tall order. Says Anthony. It is going to be tough, but they have got... The thing is, they've got the players to do it, is the worst thing about it. There are plenty of talented guys out there on the field that should be able to get something going. But they just haven't really gelled in this match, the Bulls. Another big stoppage here for the two sides just in the huddle currently. Okay, ref once again having a bit of a conversation there with the TMO. Not too sure what they were checking for there. I think they were trying to work out if it was a knock-on, but it's a bit late now to say that it wasn't. How about that Rabbitohs finish the other day? I didn't actually see it. Unfortunately, I'm still behind on the NRL in terms of the matches. I'm hoping to catch up midweek, but there is quite a bit still on that I've got to watch first. We have got there, the Bulls are done. They deserve to lose, played very poorly. And also the Stormers and Springboks in Scotland, says Bruce. A moment for the Man of the Match award. I would say, I don't actually know who would be right up the top of that list because they have 3 Bulls nominations, even though the Stormers are winning this game by 11. The two players that they have got for the Stormers in the nomination department is Damian Valimza and Andre Hugo Finta. Oh, possible punch on number 7 is what is being checked here, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be an intriguing one. A potential punch on Elric Lowe. 19 for the Bulls. It was possibly Cobus Visa. So it was a punch on Ben Jason Dixon. Right, they're just trying to get the angle here, but this is a big call. A punch, you're looking at 6 weeks minimum. Okay, it's just before Villy LaRue drops the ball. So it must have been something in the breakdown. Or just prior. But you can't be out there throwing punches. Definitely not with the amount of camera angles that they have got available nowadays. We're going to see the replay now. Who is it? So Ben Jason Dixon and Cobus Visa. So Ben Jason Dixon makes the tackle. Then from there, Visa slams him down. The one benefit they may have is that they don't have a decent angle of it. But the wide angle, this one's going to potentially show it here. So yeah, Cobus Visa frustrated with the fact that he did end up getting tackled. And he did end up dropping the ball. Then from there... Oh, okay, it wasn't a punch per se, but it was a hand slamming the head of Ben Jason Dixon into the ground. I think this is going to be some trouble for Cobus Visa. It was showing that he's got the same temper as his brother and also has the same ability to get suspended. Bollard's distribution is so bad and the Bulls are done. AJ broke the tries record, crowd stormed the field. And much better from Sasha Feinberg today. Controlling the game and less erratic. Backline still pretty static. Okay, they're saying there is clearly a swing there. To me, it looked like more of a, like that, slamming his head down on the ground. Okay. If it's a punch, it's a permanent red. If it's not a punch per se, it's going to be a yellow card instead. Okay, they're saying there's no clear evidence of a clenched fist. But there is a striking action. This is going to be at least yellow for Cobus Visa here. With players Bulls here today, they should be away. Says Joe. Now referee reaching into the pocket. So it's going to be a yellow card. It looked like an open hand. Yeah, it just looked like one of those pretty much to the forehead. Slamming the head of Ben Jason Dixon down. So Cobus Visa will be off the field. Rassi will be watching that and probably saying that Visa's now out of the equation. Genetic, says Bruce, inbred Visa brothers playing on emotion, says Neil. And that is now going to be the penalty awarded to the Stormers. That also took 5 minutes for them to rule that as the decision. Might get to the stage now. We will have to jump over to our Ireland versus Scotland stream, ladies and gentlemen, before this game is over with the amount of stoppages that have been happening throughout the match. Let's be honest, South African fans, this match is bad. Says Neil. It definitely hasn't been the best one we've seen out of the South African derby side of things. But now line out here. Okay, they've said that he's confessed it, which is slightly good news. We're going to see a replay now. Yeah, so he open palm strike to the head of Ben Jason Dixon out of frustration of him dropping the ball. But Stephen Nkura advantage now in favour of the Stormers. Damian Valimza trying to kick that one in behind with Sasha Feinberg and May Zulu, but they already had the penalty advantage. It's a derby style rugby. Says I lollipop. Yeah. Although I think the two sides have dropped the ball a lot more than they would have liked in this one for a derby. Seen a lot of scrums, a lot of penalties, a lot of set piece. And now Sasha will once again kick this one towards the sideline. One has been put into touch. They are just waiting to make that decision as well of whether or not the yellow card is going to be ruled as something more severe. Stormers playing the territory game. Yeah, they're smart at this stage of the contest because they know they need 2 tries to get a bonus point. And bro, compare this to the Kiwi derbies. So here's Neil Bester. But yeah, if they score now, the Stormers, they'd only need 1 more to get themselves the full 5 points available from this game away from home at Loftus. This game sucks, says Neil. I would have readed him. Open palm striker, very dangerous. Put in the right area, says Sock. Now rolling maul here again for the Stormers. Another penalty advantage, so it could be a man going to the bin for the Bulls very soon, but they get over anyway. The referee side shuffling. Is this a penalty try? Or is it just the try? It is going to be a yellow card as well. He's clearly from the side. They have ruled it as a penalty try. I'm loving this game, says I Lollipop. A lousy game from both teams, says Joe Mann. But they're also giving JJ Kutsia the credit. So I feel like it's been awarded as a penalty try. And straight back to the halfway line. The Stormers only need one more to get themselves the bonus point victory. But the Bulls... Okay, because it's not a closed fist, because it's an open palm strike, it will remain as a yellow card for Cobus Visa. Discipline of the Bulls are disappointing, says Hardest there. Now 14 minutes left on the clock now for these two sides. Ref's not taking it, says I Lollipop. Oh, well taken by Leleon Zas. Now Nkura goes down to halfway. Villy LaRue taking it, looking into the sun. Andre Pollard. Can he create some sort of attack for his Bulls side? Stormers straight on the breakdown, managing to get the steal again. Been clinical in that department of this contest. Switch over to the Irish game. This rugby match ain't worth your time, says Neil. And we're making burger patties for the dogs for tomorrow's Brian. Time remaining. Still another 14 minutes left on the clock. Zach Berger, he's made his way onto the field for the Bulls as they take the ball back. Now... David Creel goes to Moody, grub it down the wing, bounce to the ball, slaps it back to Berger, who will score the try for the Bulls as they finally cross the try line with one that isn't a penalty try. I see that Maka van Staden, he is next to Cobus Visa, so they're currently playing with 13. Fresh mullet for Zach Berger by the looks of him too. Manages to score the try. It adds a little bit more excitement to the closing moments of this game as it now looks like it could still be close. Definitely if this kick from Andre Pollard goes over, it would bring it back to only 11 points separating them. So nice footwork there from Berger there too. And some great work from Kane and Moody to slap that ball back in the fashion that he did. Nice one, Moody, says Neil. Now Andre Pollard does get that kick over. That will make the score now 25-14. Still two men down for another about maybe 7 minutes of this contest. It's getting that little bit closer. Great finish from Moody. And how do you rate that Joe Dirt Muller, Hamish? It seems to be flowing nicely in the breeze for Zach Berger. But, I mean, if it's going to make him score a whole heap of tries, I'm sure that there'll be a few more Bulls players who go for the mullet in the near future too. 12 minutes left on the clock and the Stormers just walking back to halfway. Oh. What's happened here? Another change. There's going to be Similani making his way on. Never imagined the scoreline. Says Anthony, okay, now we've got some Bulls. Bulls attack. Says Sock. L'Oreal, because you're worth it. Says I Lollipop. Yeah, he might be trying to get that fuff to clerk kind of here going. Might lead to a sponsorship later on. Nassim Khan, not quite in that same department, unfortunately. Nicely taken by David Creel. And now the attack of the Bulls is starting up again. Kane and Moody close to the sideline. Thought about offloading in. Thought it may have been too much of a risk. Nassim Khan across to the left-hand side. Another ball to Harold Foster. He used to have that mullet when he was in prime form, says Neil Bester. Oh, back up to his feet there. Foster wasn't held by the Stormers attack. The Stormers defence. Now Pollard goes across to Nassim Khan. 40 metres from their own line. Here the Bulls. Berger goes up to Ruan Nokia. And come on the Bulls, says Ruth. In there too. Told to use it. Back into the pocket. Pollard looking cross-field. And that one hanging. In the Loftus Sky. Nice take from Valimza. Almost tackled high by Foster, who caught him right on the ball. Around the chest. And back right again. This is where the Stormers need to try and control this game once more. They were playing the territory game quite nicely. When do you grow us a bit of a mullet, Amish? I probably can't. I think my hairline's gone too far back in the recent couple of years from all the stress So, yeah, I don't think that's on the likeliness. We did have a buzz cut, though. That's about as funky as we'll get for the live streams, I would say. Now, Villy LaRue running down the wing, looks for the pass on the inside, but gives it off to Ruan, now the Stormers captain. Hang on to it. Balls come out the back, slapped back by the Stormers. Good hands from Balimza, who looks to kick it downfield. Chasing after this one. No one will catch him. And it's Hakshiva Diamani who scores the try. They may just check to make sure he was onside here. But if he was, it's the Stormers' bonus point try. And it should almost win them this game here. Come on, the Stormers, says Bruce. It's from Bruce himself. We're going to see the replay now. The kick from Damien Valimza. Yep, onside by a mile for Hakshiva Diamani. But great awareness at the back there from Valimza to see the gap. And Stormers are charging, says Ruth. And they're checking the grounding. He has scored it nicely, Diamani. And the Stormers now celebrating it big time. Nice lecture by Damien to play the situation. And Uncle Stormers are good, says Mohaddin. I told you 43 points. See what happened. Says Mani. Wait, I told over 43. Didn't you say under 43 initially? Is your original comment? That one is going to be adding the additional 2. Making the score 32 points to 14. See it there though. Diamani with the great finish. Wasn't going to be an easy one. It was bouncing all over the show. Now ball there for the Stormers. About 30 metres out from their line. Oh, Marty, your comments here. Will there be over 43 points? So you didn't actually say that there would be. You asked the question of whether or not it would be over. I told over 43. No, you asked if there would be. We have there who's kicking for the Stormers now, says Mohaddin. Still Sasha. Now Eldrick Lowe. Now Villy LaRue. Driven backwards in the 2-man tackle by the Bulls. Loose ball. Berger was hesitant to grab it there. I'm taking back our number 1 spot as it was in the beginning of the season. Come on, the Stormers. Yeah, and the thing is, at the moment, with the way that this scoreline sits, the Stormers would move back to 2nd in the overall standings. A massive boost going from 6th to 2nd in just one game. Valimza should have been at 10. Sasha's off form. Says Joe. The ball's not too good today. Says Bruce. And also we have got the Bulls haven't got the same accuracy and power today from Ruth. Yeah, they've just been a bit lackluster at times, the Bulls. Like, they started this match quite nicely. And Kurt Liardense, he had that disallowed first try. Other than that, we've really not seen that man a huge amount out there on the park. So there will be some frustration for the way that this Bulls side has gone about their business here. Glasgow on top. Yep, currently Glasgow are sitting top of the bunch in that first place position. Now another scrum. And the Bulls are Bulls today, says Joe. The Bulls being Bulls. Every team like this, win or lose, or win one week, lose the next. Okay, referee just having a bit of a conversation with the sides yet again when it comes to those scrums. Been a heavily contested part of this game. At the moment, Damien Valimza is looking like the man who will receive man of the match, though he is right at the top of the bunch with 45% of the votes. I will mention there is another game just around the corner here, ladies and gentlemen. It is Scotland versus England. Scotland versus Ireland. We are going to be covering that one on the channel in the very near future. So, of course, if you are new, be sure to stick around for that. Zach Berger looking for the grubber in behind. And it will be another penalty to the Bulls. Come on, the Stormers. And also, I did not expect that, says Hardis. Yeah, 32-14 for the away side at Loftus is a rarity and something that you don't see happen too often at all. Pollard kicking this one towards the sideline again. They have to try and get themselves 2 tries now, the Bulls. Get into this contest where they can potentially receive 2 bonus points. Which I think would be, as a whole, probably not a bad outcome for this match. What's your prediction for Scotland-Ireland, Hamish? Says Joe, I can't actually remember what I predicted for the scoreline of that one. I did a preview of it, but I'm not too sure what I ended up going with. I think I went Ireland by 8 or something like that, maybe. Try time for Stormers. I just love derbies in this competition, says Rudy. And also how many minutes? Still another 5 minutes remaining on the clock in this contest. And then straight after that, we're going straight over to the Six Nations. Nice take from Ruanoki here. Dropped by Berger. He gave it away by showing frustration, but it is another knock-on from the Bulls. Handling has really let them down throughout this contest. Hurry up and win, Stormers. Want to head back to the kitchen and make another batch of yogurt. My Sharks and Hurricanes do the same. Hamish, are you staying hydrated? We have had some liquids. The bottle's still relatively full, though. But hopefully we won't lose the voice. It's the mullet. Wait, so the mullet got him a try, but it also got him a knock-on. Sasha still at fly half. It looks like it. He's still looking like he's in that 10 role. As they did have Similani and also Jonathan Roach off the bench, so those guys are more in the outside channels. There's another penalty going the way of the Stormers team. Just collapsing under pressure in the scrum again for the Bulls. They actually started this match as the team who were being more dominant at scrum time, but their bench hasn't really fired with Jan-Hendrik Wessels, Tishak Vinny and Smith, whose ball it is the Stormers who have got themselves the possession here. And Bulls lost deliberately, did they? Why did they lose deliberately? Is it like because they would then have more pressure on them to finish decently in the closing rounds? What's the logic behind saying they've lost it deliberately? Bulls are rubbish, says Stranger. And line out here for the Stormers. Just inside of Bulls territory. Now it will just be about trying to increase that points differential that little bit more and not conceding 2 more tries if you're the Stormers. Bulls are also still playing with only the 14 men on the field. At this point in time, Cobus VC's made his way back on. Now kick high from Ahmad Khan. Take there from Kane and Moody. Probably been one of the better players out there on the field for the Bulls throughout this 80 minutes. The ref was bought at half-time. But we move. Congrats, Stormers. Sasha is flipping good. Says, hey, no, big wide cut-out pass there for the Bulls. So we have a little bit of fight left in them here. A chance of a bonus point if they score twice. In fact, they get 2 bonus points if they were to do so with 1 conversion. Now Pollard across to Villilaroo. To Moody, who once again almost goes up the middle, looks for the pass, but it goes straight to a Stormers player. Now the Bulls scrum underperforming. Now Similani tried to get was offload away and possibly should have, as now the counter ruck from the Bulls as they get the turnover. David Krill goes to Vesa. Berger fires it on to Harold Foster. Shape to kick, but we'll run it instead. Low-level players, says Strangers. These games are rigged, says Stranger in there too. And Villilaroo is the Keith Richards of rugby, says Roger. Now another carry from Elric Lowe. Brought up over 50 metres by himself in this game, and Moody would be in that same boat now. And a break through the tackle attempt of Roach. And Pollard, my left-hand side again. Now back across left, Jan-Hendrik Wessels. Tackled by Marcel Tennyson. Yes, he is a real diehard. And it was scored today. So we're seeing Diamani score the most recent try. We've seen the try for Damien Valimza. Penalty try per team, which is quite eventful. And then also we saw the try for Paul de Villiers. I think that's all of the tries so far for the Stormers in this contest. And then for the Bulls, they've also had the try, milking the penalty there for Zach Berger. But yeah, the Bulls have also had the try from the penalty side of things. And then they had the try for... that was Zach Berger. And Say's guy is still alive. Now Pollard decides to quick tip. He's broken through the line. Andre Pollard knees taken out from underneath him. Ruan now trying to slow him down. 50 seconds remaining. New penalty advantage in favour of the Bulls here. They will believe there is still a chance of going on to get a bonus point from this game out to Kutliarinsa. And it's a try out wide for the Bulls. Are they going to show some urgency here, or are they slowly going to take this kick? They've got 40 seconds remaining on the regular clock. Arinsa is in absolutely no hurry This shows a bit of a lack of game awareness here from this Bulls side if they do end up using up the rest of the remaining time to take this kick. It was over the top to Kurt Liarnse. The commentary is fantastic. Thank you so much. I can see you are a Stormers fan, says Rudy. Not really. They have just played the better rugby throughout this contest. That kick is missed, so they actually threw that one away. We are now sitting right at the start of when our Six Nations one was supposed to get underway. In fact, it was David Kriel who did miss that kick, which now puts a bit more pressure on the final one. But what we are going to have to do, ladies and gentlemen, is because of how long this game has run, we will have to go over to that next Six Nations stream, but we will give you an update of what happens right at the end of this one. We will see you all in about a second or 5-10 seconds time on that next live stream.